It was a good addition.
Okay, you're good to go.
All right,
Didn't she just join the board?
yeah, let's just let is there a way to pull up on the side the participants?
Sure.
We get that up on the side?
You'd like that here?
I think so. Yeah. See this. Yeah, that's helpful. You see. Just let it fill in. So we have virtually.
I'll give you this. This will operate.
Oh, perfect.
Whichever way you want to.
Great.
Then I'll operate the timer from inside. Whenever you're ready.
Interesting. Okay. Can we, let's go ahead and close the door. That's okay. I'm gonna have a separate timer, just not a hard timer for the presenters. Okay. According to the we have a question in the chat about the JVN mobile truck being withdrawn. According to the office, they put that that's a full withdrawal. So that's the word we got from SAPO. Okay, welcome to the August 2023 Quality of Life CB2 Quality of Life Committee meeting. I'm Joel Benish, Chair of the Quality of Life Committee. We have here in the room 3 other committee members, Wayne Kawadler, Brian Pape, and Michael Levine. This committee, for those who have not been to one of our meetings before, we deal with street activities within the district, as well as, when we have time, sanitation and environmental related issues. Tonight, we have a very high volume of street activity applications. So we are going to be spending the whole meeting on that. We are also, it's I believe 14 different applications. So we're asking applicants to please try to just keep your presentations as short as possible, while obviously still, including any key details about your event. We're also going to just have a 2-minute public comment limit per item, just to try to keep it from, this meeting from going super late. So thanks in advance for sticking to that. So let's get going. One other thing is we did ask for applicants to send across any presentations or schematics of the event ahead of time. I don't think we got that many. It will speed things up. If you could go ahead and send those to me if you haven't already. My email is just my first name last name @gmail, william.benish@gmail. So again, we got some of them. If you didn't send it to me yet, please go ahead and send it to me. So with that, let's get started. The agenda is on the CB2 website. We have copies, physical copies here as well. We're going to go just in order as the agenda is listed. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Last name is Benesh. B as in boy, E, N as in Nancy, E, S as in Sam, H. Okay, so the first event is the Flash Flamboyance event. If you are an attendee here for this event, for any event, please raise your hand when I call out your event, and we will promote you to be able to speak. So the first event is the Flash Flamboyance event. We have a hand here. Okay, I'm promoting you to panelist, Matt.
All right. Hello, everyone.
This goes for all presenters, if possible, if you could please turn on your camera. If it's not possible, it's fine, but just if it's possible, it's always helpful to see.
Sure, give me 1 second.
Thank you. Great.
Here we go.
Well,
Thank you. All right, so my name is Matt. I work with Pinpoint Promotions. We're presenting on behalf of Dunn & Co., who's heading up the Flash Flamboyance activation. I have a little blurb to give you guys a sense of what this activation will be. So currently we are looking to set up on the Astor Place South Plaza. We're going to be set up basically in the center of the plaza. Our goal with this activation is to share a piece of our home, New York City, inside of the Astor Place Plaza. We would showcase a Bon Air inspired installation of flamingos sculptures, along with a colorful backdrop that pays homage to the homes found in Bon Air's capital. The installation would serve as an exciting photo backdrop and the introduction to our hidden gem of the Caribbean island. We would also have a team on site to share more information about Bon Air, which is a Caribbean island, and to hand out some luggage tags as a reminder of our conversation. Lastly, we would invite anyone who engages in our activation to enter a sweepstakes for a chance to win a free trip to the island. This would be done via taking a photo with the backdrop or the flamingos and scanning a QR code that's going to be posted at the site. So our Flamingo Flamboyance is meant to provide a fun, colorful Caribbean break from the day-to-day, and we hope you'll consider allowing us to land in your home. So the actual goal of the activation or function of the activation would be to encourage public interaction, just users of the space on their day-to-day. We don't want to interrupt too much of that flow. Whoever comes by and samples the coffee carts or just wants to take a photo in front of the cube can also interact in our activation. So there's going to be no real performances or staff. It's just really a nice little breakaway from the normal day-to-day.
okay. So the only active part of it, it's a passive art installation, and the only active part of it is just people standing around, passing out stuff and signing people up for a sweepstake.
More or less, yeah. So we'll have 1 to 2 people on site passing out a luggage tag, and then encouraging someone to take a photo and sign up for their sweepstake.
Okay. How long, how large is it, and how long is it going to be on the plaza? It's just a single day?
Of course, I'm not sure if my colleagues have sent over the map. I do have it, which I can send over right after.
I should be able to allow you to share your screen if that's even faster.
That would be faster.
Yeah, you should be able to right now if you give it a try. Yeah.
Great. So hopefully everyone can see this, assuming you can. So here's a little map that we drew up of what we're going to be occupying within the South Plaza. The activation as it's drawn is modular. So, I mean, this is our ideal layout, but we could also, make it smaller, make it bigger. We have 120 flamingos that we're going to be standing around here. I'll zoom in a little bit to give you a little representation. On the left, we have a media wall. You can call it a step and repeat. That's most people refer to it as. And same thing on the right, a step and repeat with a couple palm trees, and then a bunch of flamingos in the center. So it's just really like you mentioned, an art installation for people to engage with while they're going about their day-to-day activities.
Got it. And is there going to be any amplified sound and or food?
No sound and no food.
Okay. And I guess it looks from this photo like it's kind of taking up third to a half of the plaza, 40% of the plaza. Are you going to retain any of the other seating that's still on the plaza?
Yeah, so we want to, the goal, while we're here too, the goal is to keep the plaza as functioning as possible. So we don't want to interrupt your day-to-day too much. We may move some of the seating to the side, but we want to keep as much as possible.
Okay. And when is when are you loading this installation in? What are the hours?
So this would be a same day activation on 9/7, and we would love to load in the morning of and try to capture that initial coffee crowd in the morning. So as early as possible.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean.
So ideally, our time, I know I've read your guidelines. I think your ideal starting time is 7 a.m.
Yeah.
But ours would be 5 if possible. We don't need power tools or heavy machinery. It's a lot of this is all hand set up stuff. So it would be a relatively quiet install.
Okay, yeah, we generally like to see later, but, okay. All right, I mean, this, okay, seems very straightforward to me. Let me open it up to,
Sure.
Michael, yep.
Yes, can you explain two things? Number one, why this location? What is the connection to Greenwich Village, to CB2, and to the South Plaza, to Bonaire, although it's a beautiful island? Why have you chosen this location? And number two, have you been working with the Village Alliance Business Improvement District, which is responsible for maintenance of this location? So why this location, and have you been working with the Business Improvement District?
So we have not been working with the business improvement. I'll address that one first. Why this location is we've done some research in the area. New York is one of the few cities that provide a direct flight to the Caribbean island. We want to thank New York for that by providing them this nice art installation. The demographic surrounding Astor Place is the exact target market that we want to come to Bonaire. So we're helping you to advertise to win a trip for your community to the island.
And the second part of my question was the Village Alliance. Are you aware of the fact that this is within the Business Improvement District boundary?
I am not aware of the Village Alliance. I think I mentioned that when I first started. But if you can enlighten me of any steps I need to partake to, let me know.
I think you definitely need to contact them, and you can always check their contact information on their website, villagealliance.org.
Okay, so we're involved in conversations with 2 different organizations. So you're saying there's a third that we have to involve?
What are the 2 that you've been talking to?
All right, so we have SABO, and then we have the I'm gonna pull up their little guide right here. This is the Village Alliance.
Yeah, that is the Village Alliance.
Okay, so yes, we are in talks with the Village Alliance. I'm sorry, I didn't recall their name right off the bat.
Okay, so thank you. I'm very pleased to hear that, because this would be an important activity for them to be aware of. Do you know if they have any problems with it?
The only feedback we've gotten from them, we've submitted this to Village Alliance, was to connect with you guys. So that's what we're doing. This is the next step in that process. I think they seemed very enthusiastic about it.
Good, thank you.
Okay. And what time in the evening are you going to wrap it up and load out?
So we'd be gone late afternoon. So I would say we'd probably start to break down around 4 or 5 and be out of there way before 7.
Okay. Okay. I'll shoot you. Okay, let's open it up to questions from the public. Please raise your hand, or if you're in the room, but please raise your hand if you want to have a comment.
Well, I think that it would work better if they took down the presentation.
Yeah, sorry, if you could, yeah, perfect. Please raise your hand if you have a comment. Don't see any, okay. Thank you so much for Matt for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on. By the way, we also have Rocio Sands from our committee here. So just letting folks know. So our next event is the Rachel Comey Fashion Show, September 5th to 6th, Crosby between Bleecker and East Houston. Please raise your hand if you're here to present on behalf of that event. Is there a Charles Gerlich? Let me check on the Zoom. Anyone here for this event? Again, this is the Rachel Comey Fashion Show, September 5th to 6th. Crosby between Bleecker and East Houston. I don't see any hands raised. Anyone here in the room for that event? No. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, we have another Astor Place event next. This is September 5th to 7th, Aldo Astor Place. Amir, I see you. Let me promote you. Okay, I just promoted you. You have to accept it. Thank you. Hi, Amir.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? It's good to see everyone again.
Good to see you again.
Likewise, likewise. I appreciate it. May I share my screen?
Yes, please.
All right.
There we go.
All right, everybody can see my screen here?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you, everybody, for hosting the meeting today. It's great to see you.
It might be helpful, Amir, as you go through it, if you zoom in a little, if possible.
Okay, absolutely. Give me 1 second. You know, what's funny is that better?
Yeah, though, yeah. Yeah, that's a bit better there.
That's hard because all the stuff from the Zoom actually goes right over the controls on how to zoom into
Yeah. No, that's better. That's good.
Okay. So this event, actually, the timeline for this has actually been shrunk a bit. So it's just going to be on September 6th only. We're going to basically, this is a activation for Aldo, the shoe store. They are promoting a new brand, the Pillow Walk. So I guess they have a new technology for their shoes to make a more comfortable dress shoe. And this activation would be to promote the new product line. There's no sale or product giveaways for this. It's just kind of a display for people to learn more about the product. It's going to be, I'll show you the site plan and renders momentarily, but basically it's going to be an interactive kind of installation so people can come, see the product, talk to brand ambassadors, learn more about it, and then, hopefully patronize the store. Next slide. So our timeline, we'd be coming in the overnight to set up the activation. Program starts at 10 a.m., ends at 7 p.m., and then we immediately load out right after. We should be all clear of the site by 10 p.m. It's a pretty minimally invasive load in. All the setup, it's basically an inflatable that you can walk into, and then a couple product displays. So there's no heavy equipment. There's nothing that would make a lot of sound or equipment that would disturb any neighbors. Here's a zoom in of the site plan. So this would be the inflatable structure here. We'd have a little bit of an entry queue adjacent to it for people to queue up to go into the installation. There's a stacked Aldo letters that were inflatable letters that are going to be right in front, a small little kiosk that has some product display on it, and then we're going to have a little booth that's going to give away cotton candy to passersby and whoever wants to be there. And then right behind the inflatable will be a small back of house. So to kind of give a
just to make sure I'm reading it right, so the whole thing's 40 by 35 foot.
Just roughly, yeah.
Okay,
So this is what the inflatable will look like. Important to note, this is not a bouncy house. The floor is just going to be the ground. It is not any kind of like bouncy, material to be walking on. And basically people can walk in, see the product display, interact with brand ambassadors, learn more about the product. So then you can see this is what the Aldo stacked letters are gonna look like. This is what the information kiosk is gonna look like. And then all these will have brand ambassadors to engage the public and teach them more about the product. As I mentioned, there will be cotton candy giveaway at the activation, free and open to for all the public and passersby. Security plan, we're going to have 2 security for the load-in, and then adding a 3rd for the activation hours. Sanitation, we're going to make sure that we have staff all through the load-in event and load-out to make sure that we're picking up any trash and keeping the area clear. We understand that there is a food giveaway, so we want to make sure that there is, we leave the site as clean as we that are cleaner.
and you're gonna have, so you have at least 1 security person on site throughout the night?
We're going to have 2. We're going to have 2 overnight for the load-in, and then we're adding a 3rd for the activation hours.
Great. Okay. Sorry, continue.
That's basically it. It's a pretty simple setup. It's just a product display so people can learn more about the new Aldo Pillow Walk product.
Got it. And sorry, I might have an older version of the Plaza thing, because it doesn't have much info on here, but can you touch on amplified sound? Is there any amplified?
No sound.
Okay.
We know that this plaza is sensitive to sound, so we advised our clients against it.
Okay, cool. And is the cotton candy, where is that sourced from?
I think it's a local producer that production company hired somebody to come in and do it. It's not I don't believe it's a local business.
Okay. And is Aldo, do they have any stores in the city?
Do they have a store in the city or?
Yeah, they think they have a location at Broadway and
Broadway and
so
what?
this location is actually relatively the kind of like the closest large plaza that is near their store that's in Soho on Broadway.
It's at Broadway and Prince, okay.
Yeah.
Broadway and Prince. Prince.
Broadway and where?
Prince. Okay. Okay. Let's open it to the committee. Yes, Michael.
I'm going to ask the same question I asked of the prior applicant, who was also using Astor Plaza. Have you been working with the Village Alliance Business Improvement District?
Yes, my staff has been working with the Village Alliance and has been conversing with them about the activation.
And can you tell us what is their attitude toward this activity? Are they favorable? Do they have any issues?
They've been supportive and quite helpful through the process, and no significant issues have been noted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions here? I guess you guys had to cut it back because the next day is the Bon Air. So you're gonna have
Yeah.
Bon Air event the next day. Okay.
Yeah, we've asked the SAPO office to pare back on the dates. I'm not sure I'm sure they've updated it in the system.
Yeah.
I love Bon Air, by the way. Scuba diver.
Oh, nice. Nice. Cool. Okay, let's open it to the public. Please raise your hand if you would like to comment. All right, Pete, here, let me promote you on this one. Hi, Pete.
Hi. Thank you. I'm just curious about Village Alliance. It seems that there is a somewhat of a change of policy or whatever at Village Alliance in regard to events in the plaza. Somewhat concerning that we're hearing tonight that two events that really have no direct local connection are enthusiastically supported by Village Alliance. So I'd just be curious is there anyone from the Village Alliance here tonight?
Pete, this is Michael Levine. I'm a member of the Village Alliance Executive Committee. And I do know that just to answer you quickly, since COVID, the Village Alliance has been actively seeking active use of these plazas. It's part of the plan for the revitalization of the area. But I will bring this question back to the Executive Committee. Do we want to encourage only businesses in the community, or do we want anyone to come into it? It's a very good question, Pete, and I will bring it back to the Executive Committee.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. Let's elevate Carter. Okay. Carter,
Hi, guys. Thanks.
Hey.
Yeah, I just had I'm just going to point out, I mean, the Village Alliance receives money each time the
Right.
plaza is activated. And so, Michael, if you could find out how much they received and what that relationship is, I think it would be very helpful to understand the difference between the Village Alliance produced events and when they rent this as the manager for the city and how much they make. I think we already know that the meatpacking bid makes a substantial amount of money each time the Gansevoort Peninsula is operated, and it might be nice to know what those funds are actually used for. Thanks.
That's an excellent point, Carter. I will bring that back to the next meeting of this committee with a brief report on how much money is received and what it's used for. Thank you for the question.
Carter, if I made that presentation that was pulled up briefly by the gentleman who presented before me, it's a kind of a little information packet that the Village Alliance provides. It's noted in there what the fees are for activations based on the size and how much the Village Alliance gets. Obviously, what they use it for is not privy to, but that information is publicly available.
And I'll bring that back to this committee.
That's great.
And I meant the Gansevoort Plaza, not the Gansevoort Peninsula. Thanks.
Right,
Understood.
right.
Good follow-up item. Okay, I don't see other hands raised. So thanks, Amir. You may be coming back later. So thanks for, I can't
My
remember.
pleasure. I'm hanging out. I do have one more.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so next we have, this is September 6th, Breitling Vehicle Display, Washington between West 13th and 14th curb lane and West 14th between Washington and 9th Avenue curb lane. We have someone here from Breitling Vehicle Display. Oh,
That's me again.
That's you.
I'm a repeat customer.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to share my screen once more. This one's actually quite simple, so I'll keep it very, very brief. Basically, the Breitling store is opening on the corner of 14th and Washington. And September 6th is going to be the day of their opening. And they want to park 2 display vehicles, basically just branded cars in front of the store. 2 on 14th Street, 2 on Washington Street, obviously avoiding the hydrant. They'll arrive at 3 p.m. They'll depart at 10 p.m. The event inside the store is taking place from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that is basically it.
You said, okay, so it's just cars parked with branded cars that are parked outside.
Correct.
2 on 14th and 2 on Washington.
That's correct.
And you said 2 to 5?
The cars will arrive at 3 p.m.
Okay.
They'll depart at 10 p.m. And the event that's taking place inside the store is from 5 PM to 9 PM.
Okay. For the sign-in sheet.
Yes, that's what.
Great. Okay, great. And nothing else, no activity, no amplified sound,
Nope.
no activation, no, you're not even gonna have people standing out there in front of the cars? Like,
I mean, this is for basically for display for people going in the store, and then they're gonna do some photography outside, but that's just for their own internal like marketing purpose. It's not any kind of activation otherwise, but it's just basically display for the opening night event that they're doing inside.
do you have any just out of curiosity, do you have any mock-ups of what the cars look like?
You know, I've asked them what type of cars they are. I think it's gonna be another British car like Aston Martin or something along those lines, but I can find out and get back to you.
Okay. Okay,
What's going on inside the store?
Yeah, what's the store sell?
watches.
Breitling is a watch store. So they're opening a store here at this physical location. And then the store is just their opening night kind of, meet and greet for their big customers, if you will.
And what's that address at that corner? Just, do you know?
I believe it's 875 Washington or something along those lines, but it's at this corner of 14th and Washington, southeast corner.
Okay. Great.
Fancy watch.
Oh, yeah,
It is a nice watch.
they're not cheap watches.
They are not.
Do you have an idea how many people are expected to attend the event?
I think about 30, 40 people. It's not a huge event.
It's the event's inside only, right?
That's correct.
There are only 30 or 40 people?
Yeah, it's a small meet and greet for kind of their large customers. I think the CEO of the brand's going to be there, and so this is kind of just a opportunity for them to come in and meet their big customers.
I'm sure it's a fairly niche customer base.
They have their list of their priority folks, that's for sure.
I mean, just people who can afford it. All right. Any other comments from the committee? Any other comments from the board and or public? Please raise your hand. Okay. Zach, I'm promoting you. We have Zach speaking. Go ahead, Zach. Let's see. Zach, if you're trying to speak, you're muted. Hello? Hello? Okay, sorry, it's not working. All right. Do we have any other comments? We're gonna have to move on. Zach, are you, can't tell if you're trying to say something. Maybe just put it in the chat if your microphone's not working. Because we have to keep moving here. Okay, okay. Oh, there he is.
There you go.
We can't hear you.
We have a picture, but no voice.
Yeah. Maybe try just using computer volume without a headset. Maybe try that, unplugging the headset. No, still not working. Sorry. You can submit a written comment or chat or whatever. See it. Thanks. Sorry about that. I don't know what the deal is. Okay. Let's move on to our next item. Thank you, Amir. Okay, next item is September 7th, Lingua Franca, Washington, between Jane and Horatio, full sidewalk closure. 95 Jane Street is the specific address. Do we have a Christy Grimm? Do we have anyone here from Lingua Franca? No? Been to the old Bleecker store. They moved it. The old, they had a store on Bleecker before, I guess. I think they moved it. Okay, I don't see anybody here. Last chance, raise your hand, please. Lingua Franca. Oh, okay. Let's move on. This is two events, actually, 9/7 and 9/8. Nobody here from Lingua Franca. Okay. Okay, we're moving on. The next agenda item, September 8th to 9th. This is the Steve Madden Shoe Closet Glass Truck, Broadway between Broome and Spring. Please raise your hand if you're here for the Steve Madden Glass Truck event. Do we have anyone from Vector Media? Daliani Nunez. See anyone raising their hand? Don't see it. Okay. Nobody on from Steve Madden. Okay. So we'll move on. Okay, SkinCeuticals.
I am here.
All right,
Right.
can you just introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is J.G. Robolani. My agency is called CSM, based here in New York City. Our client is L'Oreal Skincare. More importantly, for our clients, want to make sure everyone's aware I'm a fourth generation CB2 resident. 4 generations of my family lived here. Born at St. Vincent's Hospital. My son, my dad, parents grew up on Morton. Dad grew up on Washington Square West. So still live on Penn Street. I live in the same building as Shirley. But now to the work. Thank you for having me. Again, our client is L'Oreal. They have a new brand and product called SkinCeuticals. It's a facial peel and hand. We are in talks and in partnerships with the Meatpacking Alliance, I think it's on the call, about doing a mobile tour on September 8th, 9th, and 10th. It says here on the Ganttaway Plaza, it's not on the actual plaza. It would be on West 13th Street, between Washington and 9th Avenue. This is a glass truck. All of the activity can happen inside the truck. And what happens inside the truck are facial peels, hand peels. There's no activity on the sidewalk, with some minor exceptions. That's what we have. What we don't have, and I'm going to answer a couple of your questions. We don't have any food. We don't have any amplified sound. We don't have any celebrities. We don't have any influencers. And all of the activation inside of the vehicle. We will be handing out like gift packs and things to people who have gotten their treatment inside. The treatments are all free. You can either register free in advance, which we want to encourage that so you get an idea of the throughput, or you can register on site when you get it. Our hours of operations, again, this is a mobile vehicle. We plan to be arriving around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. The activation starts around 11. We will be done by 8 p.m. latest, and that's it for the day. We will be for the 8th to 9th. I sent around the site plan in advance. I have
Let me pull that up. Let me pull it up.
I apologize, I didn't bring multiple copies. What else can I tell you? Registration of events, celebrities, in terms of staffing and security, we will have some line control management with brand ambassadors and security to manage the line of people getting onto the truck and out. Why we are doing it here in this community and particularly with the meat packing, starting on brand for L'Oreal. They've been great partners with us. Here is the site plan. It's also during Fashion Week, which happens a little bit south of us. And this is just a nice connection for L'Oreal type of people, clientele, and businesses within the meatpacking district.
And what are the dimensions of the truck?
It's approximately 28 feet long. It's all legal DOT vehicle. It's not an oversized vehicle. It's a standard glass truck. 10, 11 feet long. Comes in, drives in, parks. Very minimal setup. All the stuff is inside. Displays, the lights, the mirrors. People go in, get treatments, learn about the products. Oh, we're not selling anything. It's nothing for sale. You'll get a little gift bag as you leave and everything. So if anybody likes facial peels or hand peels, please come on November 8th.
And you mentioned, did you mention amplified sound?
No amplified sound, no food. Everything is contained inside of it.
And I know you said, I'm sorry, you said at the start, but it's not the plaza, it is.
Yes, on West 13th Street in Washington and 9th Avenue.
Is that updated in the SAPO system?
It is, yes.
Okay.
We changed the ID from the plaza to, we made it from a plaza event to a street event. I saw a question about if there's a line on there. Yes, we have some, sorry, I said there wasn't anything on the sidewalk, with the exception of, we'll have a couple of rope stanchions just to get people into line. Very mindful of the local businesses, crosswalks, and we don't expect a huge line. We're hoping people register in advance. Again, we're encouraging that once we get full approval, encourage people to register. So it's sort of a tour around the country, and obviously this is the most significant stop.
Okay. And does L'Oreal have, what does the physical presence in CB2 look like?
L'Oreal's a product, they're not a brick and mortar, they sell their.
Right, yeah, but I mean, do any of their brands? Yeah,
Every,
yeah.
Sephora, every store.
Well, yeah.
I hope they.
So is the Sephora store?
Sephora is very close by, they definitely sell their product, yeah, so they're aware, obviously. It's not a partnership with.
Is the truck handicapped?
It's accessible, yes, if somebody, I think it's a question they get asked, you need any special assistance getting on the truck and the registration.
The next question you don't have to answer though.
I don't have to answer.
You don't have to answer the next question.
Okay,
Will it make me look 30 years old again?
I don't know, I'm ready to be well, I would say, I don't know, you only look 32, so I don't think that's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell us again about, yes, is there one entrance and exit?
Yes, one end.
So how do you control the traffic in?
It's a very small setup inside the actual footprint, only a handful of people going at a time. You hopefully you're pre-registered. You enter the truck, you do your treatments, and then you get a little bag and you go.
Again, the same entrance, same entrance. And you don't expect any congestion or choke points there?
We don't, but we're prepared to. We have brand ambassadors and security outside just to manage the left. Their only job. They're not doing anything else, not handing anything out. Their only job is to manage the line to people in and out because we want this to be a good experience for the people coming too. We don't want them to be, also local business.
Thank you.
And I apparently for L'Oreal, their US offices are actually, their US headquarters is Hudson Yards, so not.
It is, yes, yes.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. Any questions from the committee? Or comments from the committee? Okay. Donna has her hand raised. Donna, please go ahead.
Yeah, if there is a line, where will that line go?
Correct, we're going down, West 13th, and depending on the size of the line, we'll make a judgment if it's going what direction based on the local businesses and how we not impact.
So I guess my point is that it's not going to go over on, around that corner onto 9th Avenue.
I hope not, no, that would not, we wouldn't want that.
Okay, and then, and you said Sephora is not doing anything that you know of in conjunction with this?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. Any other public comment? Please raise your hand. Okay. Oh, sure, we'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
Much appreciated.
so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so next we have Cornelia Street Block Party, which we have the presenters here. Great. Okay. Yeah, go ahead if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and I'll do it. So.
I've been that for like 2 years. Before that was Lee. So Lee Arson used to do the block party and years. And we got tired of all the production stage, stage. So
I'm sorry, didn't quite hear the say that.
Lee Arson used to do that for 10 years, and then he got tired of setting up this huge stage. So I took over president of the Cornelia Street Block Association. So I've been doing that now for about 9 years, and we have an annual block party, or sometimes twice a year, and we usually have it at the this time in September. It's really just a multitask a little bit because my dog is so much doing it. So we have a dog particularly. So I'll just go over what we have planned for this, and then I have my housemate here, Russell's been on the town for 20 years. We also participated in the previous block party, my block party, and then also Sasha was helping me with this. So it's basically the same thing every year where we have block photos and we're trying to have the residents don't meet and greet each other. Ask people not know who they are. So we always have a series of different things. If there's something for everyone. So one of the things we're doing this year is having a spot of the stuff that we might want to get to sale. So instead of people selling stuff, we're going to have them bring it down to the spot. It's probably more fun to get the neighbors. Nobody really wants to spend $20, $30 when they're getting stuff. And then also I set up a lending library at my house for 10 years. We probably have 10,000 books go through at least. So we're asking people to bring a read books to the lending library, and read. Also, we're going to make a invitation. Go and buy some flowers. So just try to put it in an area that's like, the trees. And then also, I have this thing outside my house where it's like chives and herbs for local people to cook with. I originally did that for myself, but because I don't cook, figured I might as well let the block participate since I cook the decade. So
For folks online here, this gentleman. So if you could speak up a little bit and maybe move a little closer to the mic.
Here, I can let's scoot over.
that's right.
Pull out one of those.
So I was saying, I have herbs outside the house, of my house, and it's reintroducing the herbs to the neighbors so they can come and cut them. Some of them do, but I think most people don't know about it. We put a sign up, but it keeps getting taken down. And then I might even let the neighbors plant a little area there. It's like planters, they're not big, but just some people inside apartments have no space. They don't even have a balcony or something. So it's really neighborhood stuff. We're also going to encourage people to like, maybe bake things or cookies, like things they make, and share them with the neighbors. Obviously, they're not for sale. And then I also thought that maybe it would be interesting for them to do that because some people might want some garage sale items to trade. They might not have any items to trade, but they could make a batch of brownies and be like, hey, I will trade my brownies for your soccer ball that you don't want. So I was thinking of doing that too, to promote neighborhood interactions. We're also going to have a pickleball court because pickleball is a big trend now. So we're going to have pickleball on the street. I measured the street out and luckily the width of the street is exactly 20 feet, which is the same width as a pickleball court. I was going to have an instructor, but I think he can't make it. So it's just going to be people who already know how to play pickleball. I could teach them, but I don't know if I have enough time to actually teach people. So it's probably just going to be set up for people to play who know how to play. And then obviously there are going to be no cars on the street, so you don't have to worry about breaking windows or something. And pickleballs, for people who don't know, they're kind of light plastic things, so they're really not going to disturb or break anything. And then also we're going to do a block cleanup. So as part of the thing, we're going to have people hopefully show up in the beginning and just kind of sweep and throw things out in the block, make it nice, pretty. I'm also in contact with Everett, who's the community liaison for the local precinct. We do this every time we have a block party, and he or one of his representatives come by and they give the neighbors tips on how to promote safety. Essentially, it's like trying to keep the lights on, trying to call things in if you think things are suspicious. And it's really just about safety, both by the residents and by the stores. And I also bought these stickers to hand out that are like, security camera installed. So the neighborhood people, like the building managers or the store owners, can put them in the windows. So people who are about to commit a crime just see that they have security cameras up. We've already put out like maybe a dozen of these things, and there's probably maybe only a few other buildings or businesses don't have those stickers, and we're just going to hand those out as part of the community thing that we're doing with the local precinct. We're also going to have a birthday cake for Tolstoy. That's like a dog birthday cake. So it's basically a birthday cake that dogs can eat. And then we're also going to have dog treats for the local. This is Tolstoy. Yeah, this is Tolstoy. He's relatively famous. He had 2 million views on his last TikTok. So he's kind of neighborhood a little bit famous. And then we're also going to have, there's a violinist actually who wants to play. And there's
is it going to be amplified or?
Yeah, so we're gonna apply for amplified with the police because it's like violin. So if it's acoustic, nobody's gonna hear him, but it's not gonna be like loud stuff. And then I think that's pretty much it. Oh no, there's also there's also mini golf. We're gonna set up like a little mini golf thing, and there's also cornhole, which is those little bean bags that you throw into the holes, and we're trying to do that for the kids. I forgot that that's Jacob is the one who's dealing with that stuff. He just reminded me today.
Okay.
I think that's mostly it.
And then in the just the hours in the application, it says
Well,
4 to 7.
Yeah, the only problem is 4 to 7 is the actual, we kind of need setup time. And I thought, because look, I thought it was going to be mostly adults. That's why I said 4 to 7 in my initial application. But Jacob's saying, there's some kids on the block, so we should maybe make it earlier, and the day's getting darker. So I would like to start setting up at like 12 and then have it all set up by like 1, advertise it for 1. New Yorkers never come on time, so no one's going to be there till 2. So the actual thing would probably go to like 2 to 6, and then just have another hour for wrapping up and cleaning up and stuff like that. There is going to be an after party, but I don't think that, you need to worry about that because it's inside the space of Silver Apricot, which is a restaurant that's in the block. And then I kind of like wrote something as president of the block association that they were good neighbors, and the committee of board shouldn't protest their liquor license. So they kind of owed me a favor. So they're giving me their outdoor space for like a little after party. And we're going to be using their space. So it kind of doesn't really affect the public, and they have their own liquor license.
That's governed by a separate.
Oh, I forgot.
It's not our.
Okay, and
anything on the street is.
Okay, I forgot to say the local restaurants and bars are having like a Tolstoy drink special. So if you come by and say, I want the Tolstoy drink special, they just have 2-for-1 drinks or 2-for-1 appetizers. But I don't think that interferes with you because it's inside a restaurant.
Okay. So let me just ask, in terms of outreach, what kind of outreach have you done already on the block, just to prep people?
Well, I kind of told people I'm gonna send out an email blast, and I'm also gonna send out flyers. So normally what I do is I put flyers underneath the doors of all the buildings and give it to all the restaurant owners. And the nicer ones post it for like 2 weeks, and otherwise we just flyer on the telephone poles on the day before. And then we usually take them down that night, but then again, someone's always taking them down, by the way. So even if we don't actively take them down, they will be down, but I will promise to take them down by, let's say, that night. That's part of the thing. There's always somebody like taking down the flyers for some reason, like somebody who doesn't like the idea.
Okay. Yeah, have you gotten any opposition?
No, not really. I mean, it's so common because we do it like pretty much every year that people are asking me, when's the block party? When's Tolstoy's birthday party? So it's kind of like a regular situation.
Did you come before our committee before? or-
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was,
A few years ago, you said?
I think right before COVID. Yeah. And then
That was
actually,
before I was here.
yeah,
Yes.
and actually we have Russell from the block, who's been on the block for 20 years to kind of talk about how the neighborhood likes the block party, if you want to hear.
So I have some questions.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm Rocio Sands. Actually, I'm very familiar with Cornelia Street. And I wanted to ask you some questions regarding that. You said you're the president of the organization.
Well, it's kind of like weird because we keep having these elections and nobody shows up. So it's, I mean, it's hard to have a quorum when there's nobody showing up.
There are a vice president, there are a treasurer, there are a secretary,
Yeah, we're
any
trying-
members?
Yeah, we're trying to find people to take those positions, but there seems to be a lack of interest in the other positions. You're free to volunteer.
All right, now, next question is,
I was trying to rope Russell into.
you spoke about flowers.
Yeah.
Spoke about flowers. I don't remember ever seeing any flowers planted on Cornelia Street.
Yeah, there
When did that happen and when does it happen?
Well, it usually happens right before the block party, so I mean, I personally planted flowers inside the little things that are around the trees 3 years ago, but they only lasted for maybe a month because either somebody didn't water them or the dogs peed them.
And the next question is regarding the herbs, but they're
those-
within your gated,
Yeah,
Building.
those have been there forever.
so people would not know that.
Well, there's a sign about the herbs, but it gets taken down. But there is some lady goes around and takes the herbs because I noticed that she takes.
Okay. The next question is regarding painting of the street for the pickleball court. Was there a permit required for you to do that? And did you get a permit?
I think that was the guy who was giving the lessons, to tell you the truth, but he's not involved anymore. So,
has the street been painted?
Yes.
well, it's kind of
Yeah.
fading off now, so there's almost nothing there.
And there was a sign put up also. I said, how can you have pickleball on Cornelia Street when there's a lot of traffic going by?
Well,
When are the games supposed to take place?
that's only,
Besides that, on the day that the street is closed, I
Well, that
can
was-
understand that.
I mean, there were some days in the past where it was closed, for the restaurant stuff, but again, that was the guy who was supposed to give the lessons, but he's not involved.
It would definitely have to be chalk, right?
No, it's painted,
No, I'm surprised.
including the metal around the edge of the curb. That's painted. The other question
It's
is,
kind of fading off now, so if you went there, you kind of barely see it.
yeah, no, I walked by there today. How many people are on the Cornelia Street Association? How many people, members of the Cornelia Street Association?
Well, again, I called a meeting about 3 or 4 months ago, and I sent out flyers about it's the application for Silver Apricot to expand and have a liquor license. And I guess we got about a dozen people saying they would attend the meeting, but at the time, nobody attended. So I would say the number of people is not a reflection of no attempts by me. It's more a reflection of people busy and not really attending.
People pay dues to belong to your organization?
No, I'm certainly not charging dues if I can't find people to do it for free. And at this point, maybe I should pay them.
So what is the purpose of this block party that you want to have besides celebrating Tolstoy's birthday?
Well, I think I made it fairly clear that it was to promote community with the neighbors, to have people do the swap garage sale, to have a meeting with the police so that they understand the ways to make the police, the neighborhood a little bit safer, to kind of trade baked goods to make more friends, to know about the library, the lending library on the street, and maybe donate some books, to play games, which is basically the pickleball, the cornhole and the golf thing, to listen to the violinist and to basically beautify the block by sweeping it up and then putting in flowers. So based on those dozen things I mentioned, I really wouldn't say that the major focus of this is my dog's birthday.
How many people do you anticipate will participate at this block party?
Well, because the block's not closed, when we've had this in the past, if you looked at the number of people who walk through the block in those few hours, it's like 1,000 people, okay? But they're not necessarily 1,000 RSVPs. If more people just happen to be wandering by. And of the block residents, I would say about 100 or maybe more over the course of time, maybe 200. But because it's such a long event for a few hours, you might get 10 or 20 people on the block at any one time.
How do you propose to close off the street from traffic going from Bleecker onto West 4th Street?
Well, that's basically the police job, right? They put up the police barricades and then we just put like a little cone on the sidewalks, not to obstruct people walking, but just to notify them there's something going on so they don't ride on the sidewalk with like a bicycle.
So may I suggest something for you, please? I think it's with what's going on in today's world. We have to be extra cautious, and little barricades may not really cut it. You might request that the police put some kind of a car blocking so that no cars can go through. No people who want to harm other people can go through because there is a car blocking on both ends of the street.
Are you concerned about like a terrorist plowing through the block or something?
You never know.
Well,
I'm trying to protect my neighbors.
well, the block was closed for restaurant week, probably 100 times actually, every Saturday and Sunday for like 2 years. So that's like maybe 200 times. And it was just the barricades and nobody plowed through that. And so I
Well,
don't,
that was then. Today's a different world. Every day is different.
you think it's substantially more dangerous now than it was a year ago?
Anyway, just a suggestion. That's what I said it
I could
was.
ask the police if they want to
That's
do that.
Question? It seems as though you have a lot of activity occurring in a short time frame, and you've added pickleball, which wasn't there before. How many people do you anticipate at any one point in time on the street? And is it wide enough to accommodate all the activities you described?
Well, the reason we have all these activities is just to generate interest. So if somebody doesn't like pickleball, maybe they like cornhole or whatever. So, it's like at the peak in the years past, the peak, maybe we have 100 people, but again, it's a pretty big block, even though it's one of the smallest blocks in New York. So 100 people on that block looks kind of empty because you might have 10 people playing pickleball, 10 people playing cornhole, and 20 people listen to the violin player. So it's not actually that crowded. It's certainly less crowded than just Halloween where you have 1,000 drunken people walking through Cornelius.
So is there any crowd control from the block association, youth, neighbors?
Well, like I said, there's never really a crowd. In other words, if you compared it to either the gay parade or the Halloween parade, that's much, much, much more crowded and people are all drunk. So it's a much less crowded situation and people are not drunk because we're not giving out alcohol.
Right, go ahead.
No, I'm just curious about Cornelia Street is one of the roughest streets that I've been on,
You're talking about pavement wise?
pavement.
Yeah.
I mean, there's potholes.
You're talking about the pickleball situation?
Oh, well, I would say for any kind of activity, I think I'd be afraid of
Yeah, I think
breaking my ankle.
I think the pickleball people were complaining because there's a pothole in that area and the pickleball is not bouncing correctly, but I looked at it, it's not a big pothole. It's probably like a inch deep, so I don't think it's going to be a concern. I guess if you wanted to, I could get people to sign waivers.
Yeah, well, so you're not planning to fill any holes or do any repaving for this?
No, not, I mean, the pickleball court area is in I think the flattest part of Cornelia Street with the least amount of potholes for I guess, safety considerations. And also, there's no outside dining in that area. I did talk to the restaurants and they said they're okay.
Ball in the street before?
Well, I played at night, like at 2 o'clock in the morning where nobody's there, but I was gonna say, I talked to the owner of the restaurant. They said they're fine with the pickleball because it's not a big ball. It's not like a tennis ball or a soccer ball. It's not gonna disturb the patrons. So they said they might even continue the outdoor dining while we're playing pickleball because people might want to watch people playing pickleball. So because it's such a fad these days.
Did anybody get permission from the property owners to have their part of their sidewalk painted over?
Well, again, I wasn't really part of that, and I don't believe the sidewalk was painted. It was the street that was painted. So,
Yeah, but the edge of the sidewalk was.
I didn't see the sidewalk painted. I think I saw the street paint.
Okay.
Okay. We else have anything? Let's open it up.
We can have Russell basically talk briefly about his experience with the block party, because that's why he's here, if you're interested.
Prior to
Russell, give us a here. Yes, and just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, prior to Taylor Swift living on the block, this was one of the big events on the block. But now every day is a parade. But could be from thousands of people to just hundreds of people a day on this one block. So this will probably be more than just a hiccup on the block compared to what's usually occurring on the block each day.
But people don't play pickleball on the block when thousands of people are there,
Well,
where they could either get hit by a ball or be annoyed by the ongoing noise of the pickleball.
yeah, but if you saw what happens with the influx of people for Taylor Swift, you have everything from comatose, not comatose, in between and beyond. So I think pickleball would be a slight compared to the usual fans there on the week.
Okay.
I just want to say that I remember the old the block parties.
Yeah.
Cornelia Street. They're really nice. There was music, live band was playing. It was wonderful. We enjoyed it, and they would set up chairs outside, and they would put cookies away, and maybe for very little money, little baked goods. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm saying I wish that it would come back to what it used to be, but things are never going to be the same. I understand that. But I mean, I can appreciate that you're trying to do that. And it seems to me that I would like to see you more organized so that we could have a really successful party. What do you think?
I think it's fine. Just want to I'm always helping with events. Which has been running for a long time. So I have some volunteers that I can ask that can help us to just go through you.
Who's my senior?
I actually live in Washington Heights, but I know Dr. Chin for a long time. So I'm going to ask him to help with organizing the event. So I'm going to have some friends coming over to volunteer to make sure that everything is kind of in order and we keep everything nice and clean. So it's not just going to be like 1 or 2 people organizing it. So it's going to be a group of people, responsible people, obviously. So I think it's obviously doable, and we have a little bit more time to prepare. And I think I have some organizational skills too. I organize events too, music events. So I think if we have enough time to prepare, we can make it happen without having any problems.
Okay,
No further questions.
great. Okay. Let's open it up to others on the board or public. Please raise your hand. Valerie, go ahead.
Yeah, the last 2 gentlemen that spoke after the gentleman with the dog with Tolstoy, are those 2 additional applicants on this, or it was just a little confusing. Are there 3 applicants before us for this application or?
No, Russell's just my housemate and he's been living on the block for 20 years. So he's kind of like a testimonial that the block party has been going on for 20 years, 10 years with Leaf, 10 years with me. And the block residents enjoy it was his function here. And then Sasha's really just a friend of mine who's going to help organize, but they're not individual applicants. And then, it's a little bit like a catch-22 because, I'd like to do as much as possible, but then again, I'm really just doing this to be nice as a favor. And if I didn't exist, there would be no block organization and no block party. So I'm trying to do a little thing for the community, but I do have like a job as a doctor, so I'm not going to put 1,000 hours into this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone who wants to be on the block committee, just let me know.
Garcia. Okay.
Sunday?
Okay. All right, the next event, September 13th in MDMA Plaza Hold. I don't have a more up-to-date version than that. So Evan, if you could vote you. Can hear about that one.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hello.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. As most of you well know, my name is Evan Sweet. I'm the Director of Operations and Neighborhood Planning for the Meatpacking Business Improvement District. This evening, I'm going to talk you through an event we are hosting on September 14th in the Meatpacking District. It's a Thursday evening. It's an exciting one-day event celebrating the glamour of the Meatpacking District through food and fashion. The event itself is expected to take place between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. in the neighborhood, but prep will probably be all day from about 7 a.m. to and through the evening through loadout. The event is taking place on Gansevoort as well as 14th and the Gansevoort plazas, specifically and technically, it's taking place on Gansevoort/13 Plaza as well as 13/14 Plaza. In addition to that, the event is taking place on Gansevoort Street, Little West 12th Street, West 13th Street, between Hudson Street and Washington Street, as well as between 9th Avenue between Horatio Street, 14th Street, and Washington Street between Horatio and 14th Street. The event will have 4 managed access points at 9th Avenue and Horatio Street, Gansevoort and Hudson Street, Washington and 14th Street, and Little West 12th and 10th Street. We're understanding this is a large footprint, but we're working very closely with CECM and SAPO on the event. Yeah.
Slowly repeat the footprint again. It was hard to catch all of that. Is there a map? Yeah, or is there a map?
Yeah, absolutely. Am I able to share?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. Perfect.
Sorry to cut you off. So.
No, you're fine. Great. Oh, I have to change my system preferences. Sorry about this. This is a new computer. There we go. Just give me one moment. All right, are we sharing? Not yet. Here we go. And
right now.
Great. Let me share this here.
Here we go.
Great.
There we go.
There we go.
Great. So as I discussed, the event is taking place on the Gansevoort Plaza specifically and technically. That's the Gansevoort to 13 Plaza as well as the 13 to 14 Plaza. In addition to that, the event is taking place on Gansevoort Street, Little West 12th Street, and West 13th Street between Hudson Street and Washington Street. And in addition to that, it's taking place on 9th Avenue from Horatio Street to 14th Street, as well as Washington Street between Horatio and 14th.
Okay, got it.
Great. We're working very closely with the city on this, including direct engagement with CECM SAPO to go through the correct permitting and filings for the things that we're asking for, and then significant walkthrough with city agencies and coordination. This is going to be a ticketed event with just under 5,000 attendees. We're going for an amplified sound permit for the 6th precinct, also generator permits, a temporary one-day SLA permit, and a temporary food handling permit. In addition to that, we're going to provide on-site sanitation services for the event, security for the event, and then restrooms for the attendees of the event. We expect managed access, so a closure to non-event vehicles from at least 2 p.m. on the 14th through 11 p.m. on the 14th, although pending some of the technicalities of load-in, there may need to be additional closure. I can zoom in on any aspect of the site plan, answer as many technical questions about the event as I can.
Do you have an overview of kind of what's going to be going on at all of these locations? Is there like
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a kind of a seated picnic moment. So all of these are attendees seating areas. These seats are not being provided and furnished by the bid. The attendees who are attending are actually, in fact, bringing their materials with them by and large. There's going to be some performances of music, as well as some kind of creative performances on site throughout the course of the event at a couple key locations, which will have risers where the performances will take place, as well as some roving performance through the evening.
Yeah. Is there any way to just take a step back? Like what's happening there? Yeah, it's a seated event, okay, but like what's the theme? Is there a run of show? Just because all we saw in SAFO was the plaza hold, so
right, absolutely. So as I said, it's a kind of a seated dining event. Guests will come with their.
What's the name of the event? Sorry, what's the name of the event?
As of right now, there's no name for the event. So people will come to the site, they'll sit, they'll bring their furnishings. So a lot of them will bring their own food. Some are ordering food from businesses in the district, which is being coordinated through that temporary health permit. The food handling permit will allow us to do that. They'll be there for those few hours, and then after the conclusion of the event, they will pick up their things and leave. In addition to that, additional sanitation will be provided after to scrub the area clean and make sure that no refuse from the event is left on the street.
I guess I'm just still having a hard time understanding what the event is.
Well, can we call the question?
Yeah.
Is there a purpose for the event? Because you're inviting so many outsider groups to come in. Is it fundraising? Is it promotion of the spaces? Is it?
It's an event celebrating the glamour of the meatpacking district through food and fashion.
So it's celebrating the meatpacking district. Are the participants paying to participate?
Yeah, so if you're attending, it's a ticketed event. And so you're paying to do that ticket. A number of tickets are made available to the public through the city, or the city is requiring that a number of tickets made available to the public.
What about the performers?
Sorry, what about them?
Are they paying to participate?
No, they're getting paid.
Are they getting paid by the meatpacking district?
Through our event partner on this.
I understand.
For who?
I think he said event. We're selling tickets, so the sale of the tickets will pay for the entertainment. So who the purpose is to promote the meatpacking district? I think I'm putting it together.
So there's no kind of flyer or anything you can share with us at this point?
No, unfortunately, a lot of that is actually under a non-disclosure agreement. So we're not able to provide the details of the kind of top line character of the event. The technical details I'm happy to provide. The name of the event is not something I can provide at the moment.
I mean, who are you targeting? Like,
Just for New Street.
who are the tickets going out to? I don't know. I just don't know how we can like give advice on an event that we don't really know what's happening.
Let me see if I can pull up a run of show here, and that might be helpful so you can see what's happening technically. The vendors we're bringing in, what time they're coming in.
Well, like the 5,000 people, is it 5,000 random people? Is it specific people you're inviting? And then you have,
It's 5,000. It's under 5,000 people, and it's based on the ticket sales, right? So it's people who are purchasing the ticket to the event.
so when obviously people are purchasing a ticket, they would have to know what it is. Like when is that going to go public?
So it's really about the public will not know where the location of this event is functionally until the day.
When will the public know that they can purchase tickets?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that has already been made available to the public, but I could be wrong.
Can you share it with us?
I don't have access to that.
How has it been made public? Email, a website,
I believe it's online.
online?
If it's public, how do you not have access to it?
It's not part of my management of the event.
Do you understand? We're a bit confused about what we're being asked to give.
Yeah, do you understand our confusion?
It's an event under 5,000 people that will be set up on the public plazas as well as the streets of the meatpacking district. It'll take place roughly from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It'll include some light entertainment. We're getting a permit for amplified sound so that music can be played. The expectation is that people bring the majority of their items to site for the event, and then they depart with those items home. We're also providing supplemental sanitation services, as well as on-site security to manage the street closures, as well as any issues that may arise in the physical footprint. We're working very closely with SAPO and CECM to make sure these are coordinated. We're working to make sure that we get all the proper permits for this event. I'm happy to answer technical questions about the site, where things are going, what the timings of things are when the vendors are coming.
So what are the things that people are bringing in?
Tables and chairs, their food.
Everybody brings their own tables and chairs and food, and then they have to pay for a ticket?
Yes.
And where does the money go? Wait, I thought the performers bring the table.
No,
The attendees?
for you to sit down and eat at a table. Is that,
I would have to.
is that correct?
I have to bring my own chair.
You have to
Yeah,
bring-
Rocio, you're correct.
You have to bring a table, a chair, your food, and they get you to pay money. to
And
go
in addition to that, some food you're able to purchase from select restaurants in the district. And then there's a single point of sale for the temporary liquor permit.
I have a sensitive question which you may not be able to answer. And if you cannot, we'll understand it. Is there any income going to the bid, or is it all a event that's paying for itself?
I believe that's out of the scope of conversation for this meeting.
So you cannot answer that question.
At this moment, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. No.
So I'm still stuck on the 5,000 people.
Bringing chairs.
Yeah, bringing tables, chairs, or food.
That's a lot.
5,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Under 5,000 people.
It's
Does
a
it
lot.
mean?
No, he said it's under 5.
Under 5,000, I understand, but what does under 5,000 mean? 10 people?
So Rocio, for a little help here, New York State requires you, if you have an event over 5,000 people, to apply for something called a Part 18 state event health permit. At this time, it's not contemplated that is something that we're working towards. Therefore, the number under 5,000 is because that's the legal cap for the event as it stands.
How will you be counting the people?
Again, it's a ticketed event.
How many tickets are you selling?
Under 5,000.
How many under 5,000?
5,000 under 4,999 is a legal limit that we can provide at this event. So we will not be providing more than that.
How much are the tickets?
I'm not sure.
I guess my problem is that, the whole point of this committee is we're supposed to try to provide our advice as to whether events are sort of a fair use of public space, right? And whether, and offer advice to that and ideas as to sort of whether, public streets should be closed for private events. And so it's kind of, it's just hard for us to say anything, I guess, is what I'm saying, if we don't really know what's happening.
And then the corollary of that consideration is it a benefit to this community because it's occurring in this community?
There's no way for us to comment because we don't know what it is what I'm saying.
I have a question about the traffic.
Sure.
We've had events that close off some of these streets in the meatpacking district before, and they have made arrangements to control the traffic way south on Washington and Greenwich or any of those streets that feed into this area, and it's now going to be bottlenecked because the streets are closed off. And like, for instance, I saw on the map correctly, and I was coming up. Let's see, which one is going uptown, Washington or Greenwich?
So we'll have 4 points of managed access and closure. Those are 9th Avenue at Horatio Street, Gansevoort Street at Hudson Street, Washington at 14th Street, and Little West 12th at 10th Avenue.
But if I'm driving up Greenwich Street, coming up to the meatpacking and to the Gansevoort Plaza, how am I going to be directed so that I can proceed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to take the lessons that we've learned from hosting the flower shows and similar events. So we'll have, ability to manage traffic earlier down the street. So on 9th Avenue, right further south than immediately at Horatio Street. In previous years, we've used video message boards in concert with the DOT and the NYPD to help direct traffic earlier than that. As I said at the top of my presentation, we're working extremely closely with CECM and SAPO in the city to make sure that operations are managed smoothly as a result of this event. This has already included significant conversation with the police department on some of these management questions. So I would say that we are working diligently to mitigate traffic effects from this event, from these closures, and to manage that issue, as we know that there's a continuous concern for the community board and for village residents.
Yeah, I think what's worked well in the past, and hopefully you can do it here, is putting those message boards out, like at least maybe even a week or a few days in advance, telling people the upcoming closure. Do you think you'll be able to do that here?
Yeah, we'll certainly be making that request to the NYPD and DOT. At the end of the day, it's their resources. And so depending on what's happening around the city, that may or may not be able to be accommodated, but we are hopeful that's the case.
Okay. Do you have any idea, like, when, I guess, approximately we'll be able to learn more information about this event?
I mean, at this point, like, I'm here to answer as many questions as I can for you all. If there are continuing questions that you have, I'm happy to try to answer them to the best of my ability.
Yeah, no, I was just curious if you, like, will we know about it like a week before, or I guess.
Besides, right, like giving you the name of this event, right, formally or whatever that may be, which is, again, as I say, kind of under a non-disclosure that I cannot provide. I feel like a lot of the information I provided is what the information is. And I'm trying, very hard to provide you as much technical information for you all to be able to understand the size and scope of this event.
Yeah, I'm not asking for the name. I'm just wondering when we'll get to, when we'll actually know more details, I guess.
I mean, what other details would you like to know?
Like, I'm just like, I think it's just helpful to know, like, will we learn about this like a couple days before, or will it be?
I mean, I'm sorry, maybe, I know this is not, I'm making this more difficult for you all, a little bit here, right, by not disclosing the name of this event, which I cannot do. However, I'm here to be able to provide as much information about this event as possible, technically, right, to help you understand the larger effect of this event on the community.
I guess but part of the point is for instance, if there's going to be celebrities there that, can impact. travel.
Right, and to my knowledge, there are not celebrities intended to be at this event.
Who are the entertainers?
I do not know that full information. If you'd like to make a request that we provide the detailed information about the entertainers that are going to be on site, I can try to provide that to you.
Well, you should.
But it's light entertainment. It's a DJ, I believe. It's some music, maybe some dance performance or something like that. But it's nothing of a significant manner or impact.
It's not celebrity musicians, I guess, is what you're saying.
Not in any way to my knowledge that that's the case, or would be the case.
And what happens if somebody wants to go into the meatpacking district for dinner then?
Businesses are still anticipated to open in the neighborhood during the course of this event. Access to all sidewalks will be maintained as per CSEM-SAPO regulations and rules. The management of the places to sit and use of the street space will be controlled for the event.
Is there going to be service of alcohol?
Yes, there's going to be an SLA permit, 1-day permit temporarily provided on site, which will be a single point of distribution for wine and champagne. No hard alcohol will be served.
Who's selling the alcohol again?
We're going to have a temporary catering permit for that, I believe.
A temporary what?
Catering permit for that.
Catering.
And who gets the money from this event?
Again, the event is funding itself, and then our vendors are receiving the rest of it.
Why can't you tell us the name of the
They
event?
had signed an NDA or they signed an NDA. So the meatpacking bit signed an NDA, is I think what he said.
I don't know, is it a for-profit event or is it a not-for-profit event?
I don't know. Can you tell us that or no?
I mean, the Meatpacking District Management Association is a nonprofit.
Are you getting the funds from this?
I asked that same question.
Are you benefiting from this?
I mean, I think this event is a benefit to the whole neighborhood, right? It's going to be a major event. We're working with neighborhood partners.
Who did the funds go to? If I pay a $50 ticket or how much ever a ticket, who does that money go to?
It would be going to pay for the event, the security on site, the restroom that's being utilized.
For-profit event.
Sorry, what was that?
Is it a for-profit or a not-for-profit event?
Again, to the extent that an event makes money, right? Like the Meatpacking District is a not-for-profit, right? This event is not intended to, generate significant revenue. The cost of events really, don't generate a significant amount of revenue for an organization.
Why are they selling tickets?
Pay the entertainment.
Pay for the event itself.
And we don't know how much the tickets cost. Are there different prices in tickets or just one price?
I believe they're all one price.
Let's think. Okay, let's open it up to board and/or public comments. Yeah, Evan, if you wouldn't mind maybe just taking down the screen share, that would be great. Thank you. Okay.
In progress.
Why am I getting that? Ryan, are you? Why did it just start echoing? Okay, stop. All right, I don't see any hands raised. So thanks, Evan, for joining. Much appreciated.
All right, thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Next event, September 16th, Oktoberfest at the Beer Garden, Washington, between Little West 12th and 13th. Okay. Promoting you. Walid. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, welcome.
Perfect. Thank you so much, William. Thank you, everybody, for the time. My name is Walid Almaaz. I'm the Director of Food and Beverage here at the Standard High Line in the Meatpacking District. The reason why I'm here, and I thank you in advance for your time, is because we wanted to present the proposal for an event that we're thinking that is related to something that is unique to our brand, which is Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest, as you know, we do have a beer garden that is German themed. So this year we wanted to, kind of extend the opportunity to expand our footprint of what we've been doing for the past 13 years and be able to invite the community. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen right now so that way you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Give me one second. Well, wrong screen. But anyway, there we go. So this is, so again, basically, it's just going to be an event on September 16th. We are looking to close the street on Washington Street between Little West 12th and 13th. And this is again for, an all day of activities, kind of like a street fair, some carnival games, some music, entertainment, and obviously it's Oktoberfest, so a little bit of beer. This is in order to kick off the world famous, season of Oktoberfest, which is a very German themed festivity. And as I said, this year we're trying to go a little bit bigger. We're trying to expand what we been usually doing just within the building to the street in order to capture a little bit more of the customers in the neighborhood and attract a little bit more of the locals around the building. The event, as I said, it's going to be happening from 12 o'clock until 8 p.m. The loading time will be happening at 9 a.m., which is pretty minimal. I will share the site plan after this, but it's basically just tent, a stage, some tables, and some carnival games that come already preset. And this is kind of like a little bit of an overview of what the program is going to be. As you said, it's pretty simple. It's stain holding competition, some musical kegs, a little bit of break. The main attraction and the main music is going to be an Oompa band. So we're not looking to have any DJs or any live bands of that nature. It's more like a brassy Oompa band throughout the day for the event. And then loadout will happen at 9 o'clock. The event will stop at 8 o'clock and we wrap up everything and we're ready to go for the next day, which is back to normal. I wanted to show really quickly the site plan over here. So if you look at the top part right over here of the street, this is Washington Street. So as you can see on the first 3 squares on the top left of the floor plan, those are the carnival games that we will be installing. Next to it is kind of like an outdoors floor plan, more like a seating picnic area. And to the right, closer to West Little 12 in Washington, that's where the tent is going to be. The tent will be a 25 by 70 foot tent. We'll be able to house about 75 guests with a little stage in the middle, a 12 by 8 stage. Again, the stage will be mainly for, we have trivia games, we have a Stein holding competition, musical chairs, and obviously the Oompa band. So no big performances per se. So it is just basically the Oompa band, what is going to be kind of the main attraction, and it will play throughout the day. You can see also that we divided the street obviously into 2 with a 15-foot clearance for the emergency lane. And the little red dots that you see around the floor plan, those represent the security guards that will be on site. We also have 8 team members dedicated exclusively to sanitation purposes. 5 game attendants, and 4 greeted hosts. The greeted hosts are going to be there mainly just to guide the people that are walking through Washington Street, people that are trying to find the entrance to the High Line, or people that just want to be part of the event. So they're going to be more like brand ambassadors of the beer garden. And we expect to have this level of staffing throughout the day from beginning to end. We are also obviously working closely with the SLA for our extended permit to be able to serve beer and wine to the entirety of the street. We're working closely with SAPO as well as getting a generator permit for this event. We have had phone calls with the meatpacking bid. They're very excited to help, kind of work with us on this event. We're also working with a production company, IDECO, which I believe Amir was actually presenting earlier today. So he will be helping us taking it on from here on, just to make sure that obviously we're complying in any detail. But we're super excited to present this for you guys. Hopefully we can get it across the finish line. But that's pretty much what I have.
Okay. Can you zoom in, sorry, just on the top of that, of where the actual event is?
Sure.
A little bit. Is that possible? Yeah. So what's the middle seating area? That's just outdoor seating?
Yeah, so this part right here, this is just an outdoor seating, right? With some planters, some picnic style tables, just nothing other than just additional seating for, the people that are wandering around, they want to have a beer, they just want to sit down, they want to maybe hear the music for a little bit, or they maybe want to go to play here, or maybe they're just walking through and they need a place to rest. So that's basically what this little space in the middle is going to be.
Okay. And then just in terms of the alcohol, so are you going to have, well, first of all, is it a free event? Are people paying to come in?
So the people are not paying to come in at all. People are paying for what they consume if they decide to consume. So the whole idea is that there's not going to be any transactions happening on the street. We will be selling tickets inside our actual beer garden, which is at the corner of Washington and Middle West 12. With those tickets in hand, then they can be redeemable for a pretzel or for a beer or for a sausage, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so you're saying all the food and drink distribution happens inside the actual beer garden? People walk inside to do that?
Correct.
Okay.
So the beer garden is located in this area right here that you can see.
Yeah. So then the SLA permit is just to allow them to bring that out onto the street?
Correct.
I see. Okay. Are there going to be wristbands or anything, or?
Yes, of course. So we are doing a wristband system just to identify those over 21 years and over that can actually purchase the tickets. We do anticipate about 500 people on a constant flow throughout the venue at all times. So in order just to make sure that we keep track of those who are allowed to drink, we will be providing bracelets for them. We do anticipate to have a lot of families and a lot of kids just because of the little carnival games that we're going to be doing, and we want to do that. So yeah, we have to, and we will be diligent, and that's why we're going heavy also in the security team, just to ensure that this stays a safe event.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And so the street itself, people are just going to be able to flow across the street, or are you going to, is there a point where it would be too crowded and you would feel that you needed to stop people from even coming onto the block, or are you hoping it doesn't get to that?
We really don't anticipate that it will get to that point where we have to close the street. However, we will be ready to close the street on both sides if needed to be, obviously, while maintaining the emergency lane cleared. These 2 security guards on each side of the street will be permanently placed in there, just in the need to remove anything or to just stop people from coming in if it gets too crowded at some point.
Okay. And so about how many people are you expecting to attend?
For the street, we expect to have about 500 people at one time on a flow. Not more than that, because otherwise it would be just really, it's not, the space is not conducive for that. So throughout the day, we anticipate to have about, maybe 1,500 people coming and going. As I said, the event will go from 12 o'clock until 8 p.m. So that's what we kind of have forecasted in terms of the amount of guests that we will see come through. And this is based on what we usually see and what we've seen in previous years when we've done it just in our venue. So we're basically not doing much different than what we've done in terms of marketing and press. We are just trying to expand it to the street so we can add these carnival games and these kind of community touch to it.
Got it. Yes, you've been doing it for, you said 30, is it 13 years inside of the venue?
Yeah, so it's inside the venue is what we usually been doing, you know? So this year we wanted to expand a little bit.
Okay, and then my last, sorry, I'll let other people go in a second. My last question. Are there, I think you're the entire side of that block, correct?
Correct.
Are there any relevant businesses across the block? Samsung maybe?
Yeah, so we do, yeah, correct. We do have Samsung on West 13th and Washington. The corner of, or the South Street of Washington closer to 12th Street is vacant at the moment.
Okay. Okay, that used to be a restaurant, right? I think.
Yeah.
In the store. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Let's open it up. Other people.
So, I do want to get something, something's clear in my mind.
Yes.
It says the sponsor is the Standard Hotel Highline. Is
Correct.
that the name of the hotel now? Highline is included as part of the name?
Yeah, the standard Highline. So we have a few standards all over the world, and each of the standards is representative of the neighborhood that they sit in. We have the standard East Village. This one is the standard Highline.
Okay, now this is a for-profit business, is that correct?
The hotel is a for-profit business, correct?
It's for profit. Now, how does this event benefit the neighborhood, number one? And what bathroom facilities will you have for the 500 or so people that will be coming in? And how are you going to control, besides you have two security guards on one end of the street, other security guards? Are you going to have any other protections for the people? And why should a street be closed for a for-profit business?
No, absolutely. And I wish I could share with you the ROI numbers for that specific day. This for us is more of an exposure event rather than a for-profit event. We are actually not seeing any profit the day of for this event. We just wanted to kind of do something nice and something a little bit bigger of a larger scale to kind of, put ourselves out there in the community again. We've been part of the Meatpacking District since 2009. We've been working closely with the BID in multiple different projects. We have supported the LGBTQ center multiple times, specifically this year. We tend to partner with a lot of non-for-profit organizations. So the standard has always been a very strong advocate for the community. In fact, if you visit us, we have a phone booth outside that it says call your rep, and you can call your representative for any questions or concerns that you might have when it comes to the community. We love the meatpacking. We've been here forever. Really, and honestly, probably you don't believe me, but this is not going to be a for-profit event for us. As I said, this is more of a giving back something to the community and make sure that we're offering that space for everybody that lives in the neighborhood to come and celebrate with us what Oktoberfest is.
So will the beverages that are going to be sold, are they going to be sold for X amount of money? Can you tell us, how much are they going to be charging for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the ticket system is going to be $5 a ticket, right? So for a beer, you will need 2 tickets. For a bottle of water, you will need 1 ticket. For a sausage, you will need 1 ticket. For a pretzel, you'll need 1 ticket. To ride one of the games, you will need 1 ticket. So it's all kind of ticket-based system. And then to your question about the security guards, these are just the security guards that are going to be on the street. In addition to that, we do have a very hefty security department that it's basically going to be an all hands on deck on that day, working closely with the securities that are going to be out there. So in addition to the securities that you see in this floor plan, we also have, not only a regular amount of securities, but additional for that day.
What about
and I'm sorry to interrupt. You did mention something really good, and I apologize that we forgot to put in this floor plan, which is the Potter parties, right? So those are going to be sitting on West 12th Street, right at the corner, right in this area right here.
Brian, did you have a question?
Yes, so we're gonna be closing off the street for the entire day, at the two ends of the street, the intersections, correct?
Correct.
But 12th and 13th are not gonna be closed at all, right? Traffic is gonna continue?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't do any good to the hotel to close the access to the hotel. So we obviously are diverting all the traffic that it's going south to 10th and 13th, and all the traffic that is going north to 12th and Greenwich.
Okay, so how are you closing off the street?
How are we closing the street on each side?
Yes.
But there'll be some barricades on each of the sides over here, just to like kind of mark the territory and understand, and for everybody to understand that there's no traffic going through. But I heard earlier the suggestion about having a police car parked in each one of the sites, which is a brilliant idea. So we'll definitely talk to the New York City Police Department and try to get something of that nature here.
I mean, the ones that the ones that are already used by the meatpacking bid, the planters are probably a good option. I mean,
Yeah, those are great.
that's what the bid uses for all their events. They have those planters that they move.
Yeah.
But I run, I run through there all the time when they have closed streets. That's so just, I'm sure they would suggest that to you, but that's probably a good idea instead of just the fancy metal barriers. But the bid should have those.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
And one more question, I'm sorry.
That's okay, go.
So if you have done this event other years, since what year did you say?
The hotel opened in 2009.
Okay, so if you've done this event in 2009 indoors, inside your premises, why do we need to have you do this outside and close the street for your event?
Of course. I mean, I think there's multiple aspects to it, right? As I said, we want to kind of expand it to create some sort of like street fair feel for the community and for the neighborhood. It is typically what happens in Germany. Our space is very conducive. It's very dark. It's under the High Line. It's very condensed. And one of the things that we learned from COVID is that density, it's not a good thing. So we kind of want to let people be outdoors, enjoy a walk, enjoy the street, the cobblestones, and be able to walk up and down the street with a beer in their hand, hear the music, go away from the music, go to a carnival game. But again, this is more to kind of like institute a street fair feeling to Washington Street for the day.
Okay, thank you.
If I can follow up on Rocio's question then, everything that's happening on the street.
Yes.
Not new from the past. It used to be indoors, now it's.
No, it is absolutely new, all of it. We don't have space indoors for the stage or for the additional seating or for the, specifically for the carnival games over here.
So that's new. That's new.
Yeah, so it's the carnival games that are going to be accessible for everybody because those cover a lot of footprint.
But are you selling any liquor on the street or is that only inside?
Oh, absolutely not. The only thing that we're working on with the SLA on is a permit to be able to get beer out on the street.
And to buy it inside and take it outside?
Yes, inside.
So what you're seeking to do is to enlarge the presence of the establishment and add some additional activity. Am I correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, let's open it up to comment, public or other board members. Donna, go ahead.
Okay, so the first question I have is what's going to be going on in your skating rink during the time that you have this event going on?
The skating ring is unfortunately going away. It is going to be going away next week. So the skating ring is not going to be in there. There is going to be an art installation with the local New York City artists that it's going to be installed at the beginning of September. So that entire roller rink area that you see as it is now, it's not going to be there. So it's going to be more of an art installation, a permanent art installation that will be there from a well-known New York City sculpture, which I unfortunately cannot disclose information just yet.
Of course. So, okay, because I was thinking that all these games that you have in front of the Samsung building were
Yes.
beautifully in that space. Did you look at having this event on Little West 12th Street instead of closing off Washington Street for it?
Yes, we did. And, there's another, not a competitor, right? Because we are obviously in the same community, but we didn't want to disturb the business, which is a similar business to us, that it's next door to us, which is Brass Monkey. So in order to us to do that, we will be, kind of closing the access to their venue, and their only access that they have is through Little West 12.
Well, okay, so then that leads me to my next question, which is the traffic corridor. You're closing Washington Street, so that means anybody, of course, people coming in can go across 13th Street to get to your hotel.
Yeah.
But anybody turning to go south who's entered from 14th Street now will not be able to go down. Let's say they were going to the Whitney or further into the village from coming uptown. They would have to, they would have to, because unless you put signs on 14th Street, they're going to turn on Washington, they're going to hit your 13th Street, they're going to have to go west to 10th Avenue, they're going to have to go down to Little West 12th, they're going to have to go over to Little West 12th to Hudson Street, and then go down Hudson Street, putting all these cars in a huge traffic jam all in there, and then down into the residential corridor. And then they're going to have to turn on Gansevoort if they want to try to get to the Whitney.
Yeah, unfortunately,
So
that little
the traffic,
detour-
I think is a big problem, closing off this one block for this event for one day.
Yeah, it is
But if it goes south on Washington-
it is definitely a Saturday. Traffic is lighter than during the week.
No, traffic.
And it'll be a
for people-
different little detour from, I completely understand the detour will be there. We'll have plenty of people directing. But it's, that is, kind of the plan that we have.
So if you have the plan, where do the people start directing everybody?
Or at the corner of at the corner of 13th and Washington.
So by the time you do that, they've already made that turn and have to go over and loop all around the neighborhood to get to the Whitney. Saturdays are actually quite busy with people doing these kind of activities in the meatpacking district. It's not a slow day in the meatpacking.
Couldn't they not turn down Washington? Can they not turn down Washington instead of having to go all the way to Hudson?
Where do you want them to turn down Washington? I guess they could
Washington
turn-
on the
they
right.
could turn on Washington. I don't know. Is it two ways there or one way?
You can turn right, you can make a southbound turn from Little West 12.
Can you? Can
Yes.
you? Okay.
Yes.
If you're sure about that, I guess they can, yeah, because I go down that. So then they turn that way. This to me, you're putting everything across the street from you. The beer garden is packed, is already packed. So the 500 people that you're saying might be 1,500 people between what, noon and 8 o'clock, I think is going to be much more than that. Coming and going, you're probably going to end up closing the street off for people if you're counting. With the music and everything else.
There's
going on.
the music will be just the Oompa band. We're not planning on having like a DJ or any of that sorts. There will also be probably the little MC guy with a microphone doing the trivia. And again, all of these kind of activities are very family oriented. I know that it's Oktoberfest and I know that it's beer, but the carnival games, the musical chairs, all of that, it really, I think it really does create kind of a family environment, a street fair environment. Again, we're not looking to do this as a big blowout block party. This is, again, more like a street fair.
I guess what I would say is that's exactly what it's like as a street fair, but it's profiting one business, that you're the only person that is out on that street. There aren't other businesses partnering with you. Brass Monkey isn't doing this in conjunction with you. So this is all for your benefit on this block, doing something that sounds like a block party, which block parties usually have multiple people participating in. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Wally, much appreciated.
I appreciate your time too. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, we, next event, we have the Audible Theater 5th anniversary, September 18th, Minetta between Minetta Lane between 6th Avenue and McDougal Street. Okay. Promoting you, Kristen. Oh, and we have Amy as well. Is that another presenter? Okay.
Hi, may I ask that you also promote two other people that are going to speak to details along with me? It's Caitlin Livingston and Amy Levine. They're also in the webinar.
Sure. Yep, you got it.
Everyone. Thank you very much.
You got it. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, well, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Sure. I can go ahead and share my screen. Give me just 1 second.
While she's figuring that out, I can queue up the event, which is it's Audible Theater, which is an offshoot of Audible, the listening device, if people are familiar, predominantly like books on tape, for lack of a better descriptor. And for 5 years, they've taken theater that can be both recorded on their device, but then also done live component to it. So this is the 5th anniversary of that kind of entity. And we're hoping to mostly throw an event inside of the Minetta Lane Theater. But this is a kind of a pre-show event that we're looking to host outside on the street.
Okay.
Yep, so I can just quickly run through kind of the event overview. The permit is for a block party. This is again on Monday, September 18th. Specifically for this event, we are looking to close down a portion of Minetta Lane right in front of the Audible Theater from 5:30 to 7 for the block party, with a few hours in advance for setup and a little bit of time after that for breakdown. The event itself with guests in attendance will be from 5:30 to 8 p.m., but guests will be inside the theater from 7 to 8. As far as guest attendance goes, this is invitation only for about 150 guests is what we're anticipating. And then just a very quick overview of what is happening within this outdoor footprint. There will be a red carpet in front of a step and repeat, light food and drinks. We'll have a roaming photo booth or party photographer. All of their equipment would be self-contained. And then atmospheric music via a playlist, and we will be submitting a sound permit for that. And then structural and decor within the footprint. We are looking to bring in a handful of market umbrellas, high top tables and stools, a pop-up bar, artificial hedge walls, stanchions, and some plants. So pretty quick in and out as far as setup goes. And yeah, containment is pretty limited.
This is not a ticketed event. This is an invite only, as mentioned. And so there is no cash flow between parties. This is just being hosted by Audible for the attendees.
Drinks, are you serving alcoholic drinks or only non-alcoholic?
There will be alcoholic drinks, but we will work with our catering partner to secure all the necessary permits.
Yeah, you need to get a SAPO permit if you haven't looked into that yet.
Yep, that is in progress.
That's what I was going to ask for. Okay. And so sorry, I should know this since I live in the neighborhood, but has the Minetta Lane Theater, is it been officially renamed Audible Theater, or is it some kind of partnership?
No, it's a partnership. We lease it from Minetta Lane Theater, from Margaret Cotter. So we always refer to it as Audible Theater's Minetta Lane Theater, but it's called the Minetta Lane Theater.
I see. Okay, got it. So it's sort of like, it's a series of productions you've been doing for the last 5 years at the Minetta Theater.
Yeah, we're an off-Broadway production company, so we have stage shows there.
Okay,
We do sell tickets to those shows, so it is a for-profit, what we do there, but this event, as Kiki already said, is nonprofit. It's being hosted and funded by Audible for the attendees.
okay. And sorry, just making sure. Okay, so at Minetta, you're not closing off past Minetta Street. It's just that small.
Correct.
Minetta Street and 6th
Yep.
Ave. Okay.
That's correct. Yep. And our footprint, as Amy mentioned, wouldn't even go the full street. It would just go right in front of the immediate theater. And then, as you can see here, dip slightly closer to 6th.
Okay,
And you can get to both sides, whether it be McDougal Street or 6th Ave, from the direction right or left from Minetta Lane. So it shouldn't be too much of a hindrance to anyone who's trying to go any like east to west.
gotcha. Okay,
And then this block is not actually within a bid, but we have been in contact with the president of the Minetta Lane Block Association, just to put that out there.
that's good. Okay. And the one restaurant there, Doc Toscano's, are they always closed on that day? Is it a?
They always
It's a
close on
Monday.
Monday.
Okay, got it.
They're also a friend of, so we have a great partnership with them, and they're a big fan of Audible Theater. We've brought a lot of business to them with all of our shows, and they kind of opened right before COVID. So they've been getting a lot of foot traffic because of a lot of the theater shows that we already have. So there shouldn't be any issue there.
We did also make them aware of this event and ask them to potentially cater and provide beverage services, and they have politely declined since they will be closed, but they had no issue with this event taking place on that Monday.
Okay, great. Are you planning on keeping the partnership going forward?
With the restaurant?
Just with the Minetta Lane Theater, with Audible? Because I've never been to a show, so I should probably go to one at some.
Yes, that is the plan. That is the plan. We have lots of shows coming up in Q4.
And who's the caterer?
We are still looking into different catering options, but we're looking into some local caterers from the area. Dr. Toscano was our first choice, so we're kind of still working on it.
So please, if I forgot, please tell me again, the tickets for the event, they're being sold to go into the theater or not?
No,
No.
no tickets are being sold for this
Okay.
event specifically, no.
And the food is going to be free also?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a celebration of the fact that Audible Theater has been bringing productions to this area and this theater for 5 years. So it's probably misnamed as a block party, to be completely honest. It's just a 5th anniversary celebration.
And Audible is funding it. So like Audible we're paying for the alcohol, for the food. We're paying for all of that. We're not asking anyone to pay for it.
They need street access because of emergency. It's a small area.
Yeah, have you talked to FDNY about emergency lane? And it's not really possible on a street like this.
It's a very narrow street
Yeah.
and a narrow sidewalk.
Have you had any conversations with FDNY? That's my only concern is they won't be able to get by. Have you talked?
Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the plan was to engage with them once we understood how much of a footprint we were able to have after this meeting, but we obviously are in contact with them given how many opening nights we have hosted there. So we were going to engage with them to help with some barricades and just, traffic redirection. But we can ask that question, absolutely.
Yep.
Can we ask about reaching out to the neighbors?
They said they worked with the block association. You can ask.
The block association includes the buildings facing Minetta Lane, but there were other residents surrounding it.
Sure.
Have they been-
We've reached out to council member of the community board that area is in under Christopher March. We just haven't heard back from him yet, but yes, that's the plan, is to ensure that all neighbors and everybody knows completely about it and are not surprised by it.
Will you be posting signs anywhere? Or posting any of the neighbors' buildings?
Ever done this before? Have you ever done this event before?
No, this is the first.
First time.
First time for like an outside event like this.
And the restrooms will be available for the people inside the theater?
Yes.
Correct.
And what about security?
We're gonna have our theater management team work with the NYPD to get security.
Yeah, it seems like it's a very small footprint. I think my biggest concern, my biggest concern is the FDNY question, and I honestly don't know what they would say. It's a small block. It's not really possible to do anything on the street and maintain access. So yeah, when you reach out to Christopher Marte as well, maybe get their advice also.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Okay, so the main entrance to the residential block across the street from you is right, it's going to be blocked by the activity.
It's right in the pedestrian egress.
Yep,
So they
so
should
we-
have full location.
This isn't obviously to scale, but where this bottom hedge wall graphic is on the lower left-hand side, we plan to set that up closer to McDougal Street, so it is not obstructing the courtyard entrance of that building, of that residential building.
Okay, but anybody that needs to be dropped off at that entrance, they would have to back up onto 6th Avenue, right? They'd be pulling into the street to drop somebody off at that residence.
Correct. But that street is westbound.
And that is by Church District.
Yeah, it goes the other way,
The other way.
westbound street.
Okay, then you're saying even though what's written on our papers is that in the entire Minetta Lane is being closed off. You're saying today that you're only closing off the west side of Minetta Street. So that anyone pulling into Minetta Lane from McDougal could come down to Minetta Street and continue on down. Is that correct?
They'd have to
Has this
close,
been modified?
they'd have to close off, you would have to close off the entire Minetta Lane. Because you can't go down and then make a southbound turn onto Minetta Street. Because it's a one-way street going the other way.
Oh, wait a minute. Minetta Street is going northbound and Minetta Lane is going westbound.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say northbound, which is why you can't turn onto it. That's what I'm saying. So they would have to close.
Minetta Street is going north.
Yeah, they would have to close the entire Minetta Lane, is what I'm saying. Because you can't turn onto, if you turned onto Minetta Lane, then you would have to back up because you can't exit via Minetta Street. Did you get that?
So Minetta Street is getting closed off too?
Exactly. That's where it is.
Just Minetta Lane, yeah.
No, but Minetta Street by definition has to be closed off. Because it's a one-way street, and if you go down that, you can't get out. So.
That's correct.
So did you put in the application to close Minetta Street also?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I don't.
I think I'm getting a little confused, to be completely honest. Minetta Lane connects McDougal to 6th Ave. And so we're closing down that entire street, but then the footprint, given sound and just small footprint of who's involved and just keeping it to our immediate area is just not quite the full street, but in front of the theater.
No, but like it's maybe easier if you like pull up Google Maps, you'll see. So Minetta Street, which tees into Minetta Lane, it goes north and it's a one-way street. So if someone goes up that street, you'll see on Google Maps, since they cannot turn onto the left part, on the western part of Minetta Lane, because you'll have it closed, they'll be stuck. So you would have to close Minetta Street too. If you pull up Google Maps, you can see it. So that's.
I see. I see. Okay, gotcha.
That's what I was asking. Is if.
Then
need-
no, as originally asked for, the permit did not include Minetta Street.
Right. I would, yeah, you would need to go in and modify that with SAPO.
Got it.
FDNY, NYPD all need to be aware.
Got it. Okay, we can do that, no problem.
Yeah, and you're seeing people in the chat recommend that you reach out to Eric Botcher.
Yep.
I always thought.
Thank you for that.
Avenue was the best.
Whose district is?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Mateo Bacci.
I always thought. I
Botcher.
thought 6-7 cut off, but maybe not. I guess not.
Okay, that's super helpful. Yeah, like I mentioned, the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment is the folks that gave us Christopher Bote's or Marte's information.
Okay. Let's, do you guys have any more questions? Let's open it up and see, anyone on, maybe you can close out of that for now, and then we'll just see if anybody has a question. I don't see any hands raised. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think hopefully you got some good recommendations from us here.
Great.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Good night.
Is it, I'm trying to find Botcher's map. Is it, I always 6th Avenue was the Divine? Is that wrong? Maybe it curves when you get further down enough.
Doing a lot of things with the maps.
They do keep changing the maps. Okay. Next event, September 21st to 23rd, Joa pop-up, 13th, 14th Street, Gansevoort Plaza, 9th Avenue between Gansevoort and West 13th. Okay, Jasmine, promote you. Hi, Jasmine. Hello.
So hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm with TH Experiential and I'm producing an event for Joa, which is a Korean beauty cosmetics brand. And I've been working with Kevin at Gansevoort Plaza as well as Sapos to get our request approved. Our footprint is about 50 by 30, and that's including our activation space, our line management, our back of house, and our generator. And this is basically an event to promote brand awareness for Joa as they're a fairly new brand and educate guests on Korean beauty products. So within our space, we'll have product trials, gifting, photo moments, and I do have a deck that I can bring up that includes our renders, run a show, and activation elements.
Yeah, that would be great. You could share that.
And I've also sent this through, so you should have a copy of the deck as well. But the first slide just gives you an overview of what the event is, the dates that we're looking at. So loading in on Thursday, the 21st from 6 to 9, and then the first event day taking place on the 22nd, and the event being from 9 to 6, and then the second event being from 12 to 6. And then loading out that evening of the Saturday, the 23rd, and being out of the space by midnight. And here's our floor plan. So this is our 50 by 30 space. We'll have a 360 photo booth, some lounge furniture, as well as a DJ, and we will be getting a sound permit for this and then working with Kevin to make sure our volume is at a moderate level. We have a glass dome as well, which is really like an acrylic material that we will have our beauty services taking place within the glass dome. We have a giveaway station on the top right, some more lounge furniture, and then a check-in desk here on the bottom right corner, as well as some line management that will go along the right-hand side here. We are implementing a virtual line management. So to kind of help kind of mitigate our footprint around the space, we will have a virtual line. So guests will come up, check into their virtual line, and then they will receive a text confirming that they have a spot in line. They'll receive a reminder text when they're getting close to their turn, and then a third text letting them know to come back. So this will kind of help us not have a huge line right outside our space, and also allow guests to kind of continue to explore Gansevoort Plaza, grab a coffee, etc., and then return when it's their turn to come into the space. And this will also help crowd management within our actual footprint as well. Here's a render of the space. So on the left with our line or with our lounge space, our photo booth and our DJ, the middle with the dome, which has our product services, and then to the right that has our check-in desk. And then these are all like acrylic structured balloons that we would have as decor throughout. And then here is our footprint within Gansevoort. Here's a closer look. So our footprint kind of facing Gansevoort, and then our 2 tents for our back of house space. And then of course, trying to keep as many tables and chairs within the space and only removing what's needed for our actual footprint. So the line would really just be for those that are signing up to get into the virtual line, and then we'll call them back in when it's their turn. And then we've also included in here an overview of our run a show. So this just gives you an idea of timing for Thursday load in. We'll have some touch-ups the Friday morning as well as training. The actual event from 10 to 6, and then resetting for the following day, Saturday, where we would have some training in the morning, and then the event from 10 to 6, and then loading out from 6 to midnight. And then you can also take a closer look of just the overall creative, and that's in this deck that I'll kind of skip through, but if you needed a reference, that's in here. Oh, and then I've also included screenshots of what that virtual line management looks like with all guests doing the form. And it also includes the SAFO required waiver would be embedded in this as well. So getting everyone to opt in to the waiver. And then lastly, there is a charitable component as JOA is partnering with the Bottomless Closet, which is an organization that helps disadvantaged New York City women enter into the workforce and achieve success by providing an array of services to help these women not only look and feel their best, but also provide them the resources for coming back into the workforce. So for every one person that signs up to enter our space, they will be donating $10 worth of product. And then for every 100th person that signs up, they will be donating a full makeover to a Bottomless Closet client. That's pretty much everything that's in our deck. The reason why we'd like to activate in Gansevoort is TH is fairly familiar with activating Gansevoort, and we feel like this would be a strong space to really achieve the brand awareness that JOA is looking for. And then there is also, JOA is sold in CVS's, and there is one nearby that we'd be directing guests to purchase JOA product from. Any questions?
Did you, I'm sorry if I missed it. Did you mention if there's any food or drink?
We may be serving Korean tea. That's still a TBD as we're discussing with our client, but that's been discussed so far. As of now, we only have water bottles.
Okay. And are you using a generator or are you using the hookup on the plaza?
We're using a generator. And I have that in the floor plan as well.
Okay, gotta look through the plan.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell us what percentage of the plaza are you taking up? You talked about moving chairs back and forth.
It would be less than half.
Less than half,
Yes,
which means the rest of the plaza will still be open to the general public.
correct.
So JOA has no standalone stores. It's just sold at places like you said, CVS and other places.
Yes. Yes, they're sold at CVS, Walmart, and Amazon, right? They're a fairly new brand.
And if you could just go touch on the security again. I'm sorry if you mentioned it. It was just, I might have missed it.
So we'll have security around the clock. During activation hours, we'll have 3 security, and then during off activation hours, we'll have 2.
Other people, go ahead and ask your question. I'm still kind of skimming through the
No worries.
deck. And there's a DJ going the whole time? No live performance?
Correct, just a DJ, and we'll be sure to make sure that the volume's not too loud to disturb those in the area.
And you said nothing's for sale?
Nothing's for sale. Everything is provided, or everything's free to the guests. Specific hours, so it's during our activation time. So that is from, let's see, 11 to 6 on Friday, and then 10 to 6 on Saturday.
Got it. Okay. Do we have any other questions in the room here?
So what products are they actually going to be given away if everything is free?
The products that will be given away are sample sizes. So Joa makes Korean beauty products. So they're kind of makeup products that also have skincare benefits to it. And they're going to be handing out, I believe it's a foundation tint as well as a mist. So guests that are coming into the dome space will be able to sample a few different types of products, and then they will, at the end, will be gifted these 2 different ones.
And how many people are you hoping to get in there?
We're hoping to have about 1,000 throughout the day.
Sorry, I missed that. What was it?
Is this going to be advertised where?
What? For how many attendees?
It'll be, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It will be advertised via Joa social. So they will be promoting on their social media as well as to their email database, but we're kind of hoping to get that kind of natural traffic throughout Gansevoort.
What age group would these products be?
They are targeting Gen Z for these products. So they're kind of hoping to grow that demographic.
Anything else in the room here? Okay, Ed Mom, Ed. Ed's on the committee as well. I should have announced him earlier. Ed, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question? Go ahead.
No question.
Okay. Donna, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to go through the DJ. Can you put up the screen? Because I can't see the deck. So could you put up the screen again of the layout of how this is working in the plaza? Is that possible?
Recognize me.
Yes, okay, I'll bring that back up 1 second. This view here?
Yeah, that's perfect. So so the DJ is over in
this bottom left corner?
In the bottom left corner, not in the far corner the other way.
Correct.
And then your lines are forming all on the east side.
Yes.
So that should kind of work for the plaza. So they'll be able to have the chairs and everything out on the other part of the plaza. Yeah, I think my biggest concern with this application is the DJ. Just because that sound, all the sound in this plaza area travels up and out. So people will hear that. There are residents just down Greenwich and up on Hudson Street So that's my biggest concern
Okay.
with this application. I mean, it looks like you're not taking up that much space. The other concern we always, I mean, the committee has is, you know, what is your presence in the district? And basically you're at CVS, but you have no real presence in this immediate area. So I just highlight that as well. That's it. Thanks.
Can I just ask, are you going to be doing anything at the event in terms of promoting your nonprofit partner?
Yes, so we'll have a brand ambassadors around the space promoting it as well as, and then we'll also have signage at the check-in desk. So every time, that's kind of like our selling point to guests coming in, is that we're also contributing back to the Bottomless Closet and trying to get guests to kind of engage with us while also donating to a good cause.
Okay. Great.
But I heard you on the DJ, and I can kind of rediscuss that with our client and see if that's really something that's needed here, if we can even move it around so that it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in the neighborhood, I don't know how loud it's gonna be, but it really does travel up and out all over the place. And so anything you can do to not be having blasting music for that many hours would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely bring that back and discuss it.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else from any other comment? No, okay.
Okay, thank
Thanks
you all.
for your time. Appreciate it. All right. Okay, I think this is our last one, September 21st. SNS block party, Little West 12th between Washington and 9th Ave. I don't know if they're here. There's not many people left. Raise your hand if you're here for that. I don't think I think I recognize all the names on here. And it's not any of them. So, all right. Donna, you have something
So,
else?
Will, what do you do when the people don't show up at these meetings?
Automatic deny.
Okay, because I think there were some concerns about SNS and some concerns about the other one that you heard earlier, but you didn't hear.
We do have precedent for deny with commentary if people still want to offer commentary on stuff. So if there's something you wanted to comment SNS?
I mean, SNS, it's going to be, I think it's a full block closure, right? And I don't, do they have music on that one? Let me.
It is
the whole street.
Yes, it's amplified. It is amplified sound.
So, you know, there would be a concern with that, and then closing, again, it's closing off a street for a private business. And they have problems with music. They have a club on Gansevoort Street that is underground below their store that frequently has problems with music when the door opens and closes all the time. So this is liable to be a very loud event.
Okay.
They have experience running events over on Gansevoort. So the store entrance faces 13th Street. Below the store is a basement space. The entry to the basement space is on Gansevoort Street. They got permission for a liquor license and to have, you know, music down there.
Okay.
Donna, can you tell us what is the store?
SNS.
But what is SNS?
It's sneakers and stuff. It's a high-end sneaker store that is actually, I would say, really pretty under the radar in terms of the store itself is not a problem. But the event that they're doing based on how they do the events on Gansevoort Street is likely to be a problem. Just loud noise and also the closing of the street.
Got it.
So that's the problem with that one. And then the one I just wanted to say with the lingua franca FW, they also have music out there. And that is an extremely residential neighborhood. Everything around there is residences.
Okay,
So
Got
any music, amplified music outside for that, I think that was what Zach was going to speak to, and I had gotten an email from Jane Street Block Association that their biggest concern was with any music outside on that one.
so I mean, I think we can have an eye and note that they didn't show and that there were a lot of concerns about amplified sound, and just to make sure that
Great,
if they do proceed with anything, that there's no sound.
great, thank you.
And Donna, did you have any comment about the event on 9/13? I don't know if you were here for that, the one that's supposed to close the entire meatpacking district.
I was there for that. Because of it seemed to be the night of the non-disclosure events, right? So, if they do what they did for the flower show, which you remember I was all up in arms about that one, but they did do, and I think to your committee's credit, because you asked them to do it, all that posting about the closings and everything, the traffic really was not a problem at that time. This is for a few hours on, I think, what is it, a Wednesday night or a Thursday?
Thursday
Not even
night.
on the weekend. I don't have as many concerns about that. I will say, the bid always makes money off of these things. They are sponsoring it. I don't know, I think they're co-sponsoring with somebody, but Evan was so vague, I have no idea.
14th, not the 13th.
Oh, it's not
They moved it to the 14th. Yeah.
Is it it's Thursday, right?
Yeah, the application said the 13th, but they moved it to the 14th. He said they moved it to the 14th.
Okay, so I mean,
I
it's,
just don't like the secrecy. I mean, it just,
I know, and I think it's the nature of we're living in this day and age where they do these kind of crazy events, so I'm not sure. And then I'm just gonna say, I am on the meatpacking district bid board as a resident living in the neighborhood, so I can't vote on this application. I recuse myself from voting on this application, so just so you all know that. If they do the signage with the traffic, I'm not as concerned about the traffic on that night if they do their due diligence with that. And the rest of the vagaries with it, I leave it all to the committee to see how you feel about it. I mean,
I just don't like the precedent of proving something where we don't even know what it is. We
what
can't.
it is with a lot of people.
Can't issue.
With a lot of people, 5,000 people, 4,999.
I mean, I don't, maybe.
Don't overstate it.
Maybe we just have a resolution that says we can neither deny nor approve because we don't know what it is.
No, I
We just
think
deny
we
it.
just deny it because we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We deny it on the basis of the fact that the non-disclosure is leaving us in the dark.
Okay, well, let's go through in the way we usually do in order, and we'll come to that. Okay, so we're going to business session. Okay, from the top. Flash flamboyance. You're advertising for another country.
I missed that one.
Oh, okay. Do you want to abstain from that one?
I will because I.
Okay.
On the other hand, the idea of going to Bonaire sounds very,
It's an advertisement for the island of Bonaire.
a tiny Caribbean island, which is beautiful.
I mean, I think we've been working towards denial for pure advertisements, right? For billboards.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone disagrees on this one.
Oh, and
It's not, it's minimal impact, which is fine, which is good.
why here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
doesn't seem to have any community benefit.
yeah.
There doesn't seem to
So you
be a
think
big on-air population
Or I think you
Same.
should do your ordinance if that's okay.
Same. I'll
Yeah,
that we know of.
all right. So are we all in favor of denying? Does anyone oppose that?
And again, repeat, what would our reason be?
Just to say, as the committee continues to be opposed to use of public plaza space for purely commercial events.
commercial that are not related to the business.
Yeah, purely commercial events with no community access. Okay. All in favor of deny, say aye. And you're gonna abstain? Any opposed or recused? Okay. And Zach left, so I guess he just absent on that vote. Okay. Bleecker, Rachel Comey Fashion Show. That's no show, deny.
No show, huh?
All in favor of deny, say aye. Aye. Any abstain, recuse? Okay. Okay. Aldo Astor Place.
I think Aldo
They
does
have a store in CD2.
they have a presence here. Right. And that would meet our guideline. And it's minimal impact.
I felt okay with that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's in line with the principle if we say that, you know, they do have a local presence.
right.
There's no amplified sound. There's no real food other than cotton candy. We've approved other events like that before that do have a local tie.
On the other hand, before we vote on this, Carter made a good point. If it's not a bid sponsored event, how much money does the bid get from these events? And I promised that I would inquire and try and determine how much the Village Alliance is getting from an event that it does not sponsor. I'll bring that back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money, but
Let's see. He said it was in that packet, which okay, it says per day, small event is 2,000, medium events 5,000, large events 10,000. That's the amount that goes to the bid. And then they also pay a fee to the city.
and but I should ask the bid, how many such events do we have per year? How much income do we receive?
We could probably piece it together. But yeah, you can ask them.
I'll ask them. I'm on the boards.
Yeah. Okay, so people are okay with this one, just and we can put in the whereas that they have a local presence in CD2, which is honestly not that far from the plaza. It's Soho, but it's, you know, it's fairly close to. It might be the closest big plaza that they could use. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same, okay. Lingua franca.
All right, I'm
Oh,
gonna,
no, sorry, I missed one.
yeah, we're gonna buy one of those watches.
Right.
$1,900.
This is a luxury watch.
Very high end.
This is super minimal impact, and they are opening a store there, and they're only
1,000 was the most expensive.
yeah. They're only taking up 4 spots on the curb lane, so I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Even if none of us can afford
I
it.
was okay with that too.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of that? Any opposed, abstain? Okay. The 2 lingua franca events, both aye. So all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain, refuse, okay. Zach back on yet? No. Oh, he is on. Zach, if you're on, can you turn on your camera?
You see him?
He doesn't show up on there. You have to. This view is of the one people with their cameras off and don't show up, but he's still on. But should have his camera on. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, I'm just recording, make sure I get everything. Steve Madden. No show. That was a no show.
No show, yeah, they didn't discuss.
No, I'm confused because the one right after it's also a glass truck.
Right. So,
Okay, so unanimous and aye on that one. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, abstain. Okay. Okay, so the next one is a glass truck. Okay. This one's a little tricky. I don't know. I'm all on the fence on this one. They're not taking up the plaza, which is good. So it's a little bit less of an impact, I think, if they're only taking up a curb lane. We've approved other curb lane events that are commercial. But then again, there's not a direct store here. They do sell their product in Sephora. So I don't know. How do people feel about that?
The fact that they were giving the facials and whatever it is.
Yeah,
Free.
I think if this were a plaza event, this is something we might deny.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah.
I think it's lower impact because this is not a space where you normally would have pedestrians because it's a curb lane. I don't know. What does everybody else think?
Good.
We're okay?
That's okay.
Okay, sounds like we're all okay with it.
And Rocio and I will be on the line.
Right.
All in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstain?
Well, I'm sorry, I just got back. I'm gonna recuse from this one.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll say why. My company, we own skincare brands. We compete with other skincare brands. So any skincare I'm recusing from.
okay.
Who was it?
Zach Roberts.
Zach Robert, yeah.
Great. Okay. All right, this one.
I feel bad that I tortured him.
So do you know him?
Well, I'm on that block every day almost. And yes, he has a dog and he is a ophthalmologist. He does that LASIK surgery. And I see him reading the New York Times like this. That close, thinking, oh my God.
So it seems like there's a competing block association on this block.
I've never heard of the other one.
It seems like, so there's someone, I actually got an email through the CB2 public comment system, not related to this application, but last month from someone named Kathy Arnson, who he referenced, who
Yes.
says that she's chair of the Central Village. Oh, it's a different block,
Yeah,
the Central Village Block Association.
right,
And that was the person he referenced who used to be part of Cornelia Street Block Association.
right.
And was basically asking, was there an application for this event that happened on July 8th? Which I think was maybe the one that you were referencing where they had painted pickleball.
No, that was a long time ago.
Okay, but there was also
A few years.
there was a pickleball court apparently 1 month ago. According to this, which I couldn't verify, but
The court has been painted for at least almost 2 months now.
yeah,
But I have a building right in front of that court. Nobody asked me. Is it okay if we paint?
yeah,
I know the street, it's not mine, but I know that I'm responsible for
Yeah.
18 inches into the street. That's one thing.
yeah.
And
So I don't know if the Central Village Block Association like
and
overlapped.
that lady, that one who wrote, I understand it was her husband that used to put on street fair. And he had a band. And they used to play. They used to set up a whole stage and it was nice. It was
Yeah.
beautiful music and it was a friendly neighborhood thing.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of block parties in general,
I do,
which is
I do,
why this one's a tricky for me.
I do.
We
But
have always supported them, but it seems as though there's a lot of activity. happening.
Yeah, and then the only problem I had with it was the pickleball.
yeah, I don't like,
See,
It's more than we've ever seen.
I think this guy has a lot of ideas. But I don't think I've never seen anything really done. I've never seen flowers planted. I've never seen anything of the sort what he was talking about.
The person who was going to teach pickleball withdrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. He might not even do it.
But am I just,
But people might show up still.
People not, right.
Like
People will show up.
pickleball players could just show up and play.
yeah, Leaf Artson was the person before, that's what, so I don't know if Kathy Artson.
Yeah.
Related to him, I guess,
Related to whom?
or married to him, or
The
His wife?
lady who wrote?
his wife.
Yes, I think so.
Can we approve with the exception of the pickleball court?
He's advertising that if people want to play, they're
I
gonna
don't-
show up. I don't think you're gonna stop that from happening.
And the problem is it's already painted on.
Well,
They just did it on their own. They didn't contact anyone. They didn't contact me, my building.
Thing is, they've done
Two buildings on
they've
it.
done unpermitted block parties before. So
Yes, they have. I'm not saying we should deny it. I think I will vote in favor of it. but I think it's kind of too spacey out there, too many things happening and I don't see anything concrete that has ever happened.
Something
Just
that would be worth checking it out. You know, if we're gonna prove it, if it goes ahead,
I think
I'd
he
be
has,
curious to check it out to see
he has good
how bad
intentions.
it is.
He has good intentions. I said to him, I hope that you have a successful event,
Yeah.
but we're still planning. It's only one block, thank God. And it was closed during the pandemic, part of the pandemic, as one of those streets.
Open streets.
Yeah, open streets.
Yeah.
But that stopped many years ago too.
Wasn't there dining sheds on there? one.
There's a dining,
Mexican place on the corner.
yeah, Tacombi has one, and then the Palm has one. Apricot, the restaurant that he was talking about, where the after party is gonna be.
So Valerie's asking a question about the organization. I mean, it's a block party, so it's not a commercial event. It's through what he claims is the Cornelia Street Block Association.
But I don't.
Block parties are done, by block associations or whatever, or groups of individuals. It's not, there's no organization. Other than the block association, which is what he says he's part of. I don't know.
But he suppressed it.
I mean, anyone can create.
The good thing is, he's not collecting any money.
Yeah.
He's not making any money on it. It's not a fundraiser. It's
He doesn't have that, seem to have that intention.
no,
Like
not at all.
over.
Yeah, he does live on the block. His business is not on the block, but he's a resident.
Yeah, he owns a little townhouse there.
Yeah.
I think he said with the other gentleman who happens to know me.
Yeah.
He probably thought I was gonna be nice. And you know, all these questions about the plants, the flowers,
Yeah, like I don't.
permits.
I don't know. It's tough.
I think the guy has good intentions and he wants to do a party there. And I think we have approved things like this before. It's supposed to be for the benefit of the community. They're gonna be trading things, brownies for pots and pans, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't think he had a list of, Donna's asking for signatures. No, but he had at least one other person who lived on the block here speaking in favors.
Well, he lives with him.
Oh, he's his roommate, yeah.
That's what he said.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the reality is, I think with any block party, like some people from the block will really enjoy it. Some people will not like it, but
I think it's fine.
I also don't like reward, like if someone's has skipped going to us before. But then again, it's also good that maybe they're trying to be more legit about it.
No, he came before us,
But not for the July one.
but I don't know if it was him. He did that? You think it was?
Just according to this one public comment that I got, was that he had done something in July. Zachary, what do you think?
I mean, I saw his whole thing and I agree to Valerie's questions. I mean, I don't know that I view it as any more or less legitimate than if he's filing on behalf of a block association or whatever. It's whether this will be a good event for the block or not. I mean, I was actually on Cornelia Street about a week and a half ago. I ate at Silver Apricot. And the point that was made was correct, that the street is slammed at all times with people thanks to Taylor Swift. So I don't personally think this is going to be much of a disruption relative to what normally is going on the street. Now, whether that's good or not, what normally happens on the street, but I don't see this as a big disruption. So I didn't see a big problem. I thought he was kind of a little underprepared for some of the questions, but I would vote in favor.
There he is with, what's the dog's name?
Yeah.
Tolstoy.
Yeah, I am part of the problem that we've had in the past, and Mark's been trying to help with this is just what do you do when people just throw in permanent events? How do you deal with it and what's the enforcement? Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's much enforcement. So it is, I guess, a good thing that is coming to us now. And it is harder for a single person to plan something. It's most of the professional people that come before us. So in general, we said we want more real community activities, and at least he's trying to do that. So that's why I'm going back and forth. So,
Well, I think Carter's hand is up.
oh, sure, yeah.
My issue with this is he doesn't have a plan. And I think that, when we hear from other block associations or from anybody, there's much more of a plan. And I think, and I think that's sort of, we heard everything on this. I mean, from trading brownies to violinists to, they have people out there have their wading pool that they put out there all the time when I've walked down before when the streets closed to, cutting plants on somebody's personal property. I mean, this is just all over the place without a plan. And that indicates to me that there's no organizational group that's a part of putting this together. And that's really what you need to pull off a successful block party. And none of those elements were here. And I think if people want to be successful, they need to come in with that type of a plan. And I'm not sure, you can tell from there doesn't seem to be much community support for this event in that there's nobody that's a part of the organization. So it just sort of runs contrary to everything that, I would look for, and I think that we've looked for in an event in the past. It doesn't mean that he can't come back with all that information, but he didn't present anything. And I'm not sure why we would put our stamp of approval on something without a clear plan.
Part of the plan isn't part of block party just kind of hanging out?
So I think he does have a plan.
Do other block parties have like a more robust schedule, I guess? Maybe they do.
Well, it's not so much that, is that you have different people doing different things. And it's much harder than one would imagine to organize that. Just closing a street, that's what the street was for a long time, an open street, where you could do all of those types of events and whatever you want. But now they're applying for a specific permit to close the street, but it's not for an open street. It was originally for a fashion event under somebody's private company. And now it's been switched around to be under the guise of a block event, but there's nothing to program it. I mean, I think if I'm sure some of you have gone to these block events. They take a lot of work to put together. They don't just come together and you say, oh, just do whatever you want. I mean, that the street was empty the majority of the time. It was an open street. So I again, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just didn't hear anything that was a plan that would be reason for us to approve street closure.
The point of his block party is to really get the neighbors together. And I think he has good intentions. I don't think he presented as well as other people have presented in the past to organize, but he does have a plan, and his plan is to have many activities happening. And hopefully he'll have volunteers who will man the tables, or even the people who decide they want to play one game, or whether it be the pickleball or the trading of the goods and services that he's planning. I think it's a small block, and I don't see a reason why we should oppose something like this just because he didn't present in a way that you're used to having other people present. I think the man has good intentions. He does have that little library, which is a little bookshelf about this size, got a little door, and you can borrow books and you can bring your own books and put them in there. He calls it a library. I wouldn't call it a library, but but it is something that he's done for the community for many years. So with good intentions. And I think that we should really support people that come with good intentions. and not necessarily wanting to make a profit or make a lot of money out of an event. How is he profiting? Well, his dog is pretty famous. It is the dog that's famous. And so I don't know if he's gonna be pushing his eye correction, vision correction operations. But I didn't hear any of that. And I think that I would support this, even though I grilled him a lot, and I know that I did, because I kept hearing all these things that in his mind that were gonna happen or have happened. But I think it's okay. For me, it's okay. I would support this type of, it's one little block.
I would agree with you if his personal company wasn't the sponsor of the event.
If what?
I mean, that's his personal company is the sponsor of the event.
He
Not
put
the
his
block.
in the SAFO app, he did put his LASIK company.
LASIK, oh yeah, LASIK. Park
And
Avenue.
I don't disagree with you, Rocio, but there's no evidence. I mean, nobody comes to his meetings. There's no participation from anybody on the block. He's done it for the last number of years, but it just seems to be him, and it doesn't seem that anybody comes out for them. I had walked down the block last year when they did this. I believe it was last year, and there was nobody there. It was just the street was closed. That was it. You know, there was somebody in a pool, and there was nothing going on. Literally, just somebody. There were 3 people sitting in a waiting pool. So I mean, I don't disagree with you in everything that you've said, but nothing has happened, and I don't know why doing it another year anything would happen. And if you haven't laid the groundwork to do something, it's not going to happen any differently. And that's why we don't see many block associations anymore doing these events, unfortunately, is because it's a lot of work to do it. You know, I think BBC, you know, they stopped doing their great events because it was just too much work to get it, to have it, to pull it off. I talked to Kathy Donaldson extensively about that. So that's my only point, is that if we're going to encourage it, we should be encouraging people from this time to be organized through to the event. And that's my only issue, is that this doesn't seem to bring anybody else in.
Well, could we approve this and say we'd like to see a higher level of organization in the future?
Yeah, I mean, part of why I'm torn is like, you see 90% of what we get here is like truly commercial, like advertising.
This is,
he did apply for it under his LASIK, but I don't get the sense that he's used, put up signs or anything in the past. And I don't think he's going to do that here.
No, I do remember seeing signs in buildings, please come out and clean your building, clean up.
So it's like, it's unorganized.
Thing.
It's unorganized, but it's one of the only events we're seeing that's not like an actual full-on commercial advertising event.
Right.
So I mean, I do think that the application, we should try to adjust the application and maybe make it clear that it's not commercial, if that's what it really is, and that it's, just coming from him.
I wonder why he wrote that the sponsor was the Park Avenue LASIK.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like a soul, I guess.
Is he really going to donate? Is he going to donate money so that he can have the pickleball teacher or whoever else is going to go to the corn thing,
I don't know.
whatever you call that, the games, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I still think it's okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm fine with it. I mean, had a problem with the pickleball.
Yeah, same thing. I just hate the idea of having somebody play pickleball in an open street like that. A lot of people hanging around. It seems dangerous, but that's, I wouldn't want to shut down the whole thing for that.
Can we tell them, like you said, no pickleball?
I think, I don't know if we can do that, but I think we should say that, I think we should say block parties are not allowed to be commercial events. So as filed, it shouldn't be allowed. So, we would approve it if it was a true block party, sponsored by a non-commercial. You can't have a block party that's a commercial event. That has to go through SAPO as a. We just say we approve it as, as it was presented as a non-commercial event. However, we note that it's listed as a commercial event and that's not allowed. So the application would have to be changed. It wouldn't be allowed.
I think that's a good approach, but also the pickleball is easily addressed. No organized sports, in a street event.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so we should just note that that's the rule. And that should be.
And perhaps just as a side note, there's something in the line after Cornelia Street Block Party that's been crossed out. Fashion show for Ukraine. Is that, so that was originally part of this and then it was crossed out?
I have no idea.
Or maybe it could be from the previous line.
Yeah,
I think it's from the previous.
I don't know if Mark has a comment on that.
Yeah,
That seems like-
the theory is a fashion thing, so I think
that
the
seems like a
fashion
totally different event.
belongs to the line above. Okay,
Bill, Edmond, may I speak something?
Sure.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
I think there's some kind of mutual. We always expected the behavior of the party, block party, the good thing for the community, and the people tour program. They also try to. Their own mind, the private mind, always have something self profit. So their expectation and expectation mutually is always discrepancy, inconsistent. Therefore, we feel they don't fulfill, they don't substantiate what they want to do. So here, I think I have may I suggest when they apply for the program, for block party, for program, for a desk, for a pad there, I think we should have some kind of for them to illustrate, to substantiate the reasoning, what they are doing benefit for the community. Let them working hard with their brain working hard, so that they are thinking hard to benefit the community, to enrich the community. And so I would suggest you list the 5 questions they have to answer, 5 benefits for the community, so they can qualify to have this party. Otherwise, we think they think they do this is all right. It's not all right. So they are apparently everybody seems to feel they are not doing what they seems to be 40% or 50%. At least they should do their 75, 65, 75% what they should do. But no, this is they just doing some kind of play game, to show they are doing, but they are trying to benefit themselves instead of the community. I think we should leave the application form 5 reasons how you're going to benefit the community, substantiate, and with the reason how they practice to materialize their idea, their plan, their program, substantiate. Thank you.
Okay, did we get that?
yeah,
Yeah, I think.
thank you.
I think one other thing we should put in there is I believe SAPO typically requires some amount of signatures to a block party. So we should just say, contingent on, SAPO according, following SAPO rules as to required amount of signatures from the block.
And then also something about the safety, to make sure that people are safe if there's going to be any kind
Yeah.
of activity that
Yeah.
could injure
Yeah.
someone.
I think if we have the signature thing in there, then that'll ensure we can see whether there's actually real interest, which is a little hard to gauge.
Right.
From that. So if he goes out and there's no signatures, then we'll kind of know. But I believe I'm trying to look back through the SAPO rules. I think they require some degree of signatures. So, okay. So are we okay with sort of a qualified approval saying, they need It can be a commercial event, and it can be a commercial event, has to have signatures.
No advertising of his.
Yeah, well, that would be covered by that. Yeah, no advertising. And what was the last thing we said? Said one other thing.
Or you said.
No organized sports. No organized sports. Are we all in favor of that?
Yes.
Anyone opposed, abstain, recuse? Okay. Cool. Okay, Plaza Hold?
Oh, boy. Standard Hotel Highline?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, no, the next one. Oh, the Plaza Hold.
Event.
The mystery event. Our vote should be a mystery vote.
I think this has to be denied. Like, there was just no information at all, essentially. We don't know what it is. We have no way to judge it. We have no way to grade the acceptability or anything. Yeah, that was my reaction, just hearing the testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a big no.
5,000 people is a lot of people. 4,999 people is people.
And we have no idea what.
Maybe the weirdest.
Yeah, that was 6,000.
Part.
Looked at, 6,000.
The weirdest application I've ever seen. So ever seen that.
We asked, how does somebody from the public get a ticket? Purchase a ticket.
Wait, did he
That
say
wasn't
that it's online somewhere?
He said it was supposedly advertised online somewhere.
Where?
Yeah, he didn't give us anything like that. We couldn't get any information. So, yeah, there's really no way.
What does MDMA stand for? Do you know?
Yes.
Packing District Management.
Oh.
Bid. It's a bid. Meatpacking District, I think, management.
So
It's an unfortunate acronym.
All right, so we all favor unanimous tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, abstain, recuse? Okay.
He will. I on this one, I think it's important to say why, and I think that people were bringing up before. It's very important to say the whole point we review these applications is to get information, and for them as a regular partner, with the city in sponsoring events, for them to not share the details with us and to be able to enter into NDA agreements with people sort of goes against the entire grain of the review process. I think that's important to point out. In addition to, that the criteria is not there.
Yeah.
If we start, if people can say, oh, we have an NDA, so we're not going to tell you. I mean, how can somebody enter into an NDA for an event where you're closing city property, where the intent is to somehow have some sort of a public benefit? It's a very important, because secrecy and confidentiality and this and that seem to be a big thing tonight. And I think it's important to come out very clearly talking about that.
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make, is it's public streets that the whole point of this committee and SAPO are to review. And, like, otherwise, what are we even doing?
I put it in 2 simple words: no transparency.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I vote no.
We can say we object to classified documents.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Carter. I agree 1,000% on that. Okay,
Everybody.
we already voted on, I think we already voted. Okay. 9/16 Oktoberfest.
That's another no for me.
So I think I actually have a different view on this one. This is a bit, we always talk about local businesses and how we do want to support them within our community, local restaurants and bars and whatever. They have been around since 2009. They're one of the longest standing tenants, I think, in meatpacking. Or I don't know if they own the building or not. And this actually, I do think, will attract not just a pure party crowd with the floats and whatnot. And I think it has cultural value. So I understand why people would be opposed to this one. I think again, they've been in that spot for 13 years, 14 years now, almost. They are involved in the community. I think they were one of the first hotels to build in meatpacking. So
I think this is a private party.
well, so anyone can go for free. I mean, anyone can go for free.
Anyone can walk and not.
It's a party for.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You have to pay to do the carnival.
You have to pay one.
You can sit on the street for free.
That's right.
It's $5 to do
Anybody can walk around
$5 to do carnival.
and kind of enjoy the music.
It's $10 for a beer.
$10 for a beer, 5 for a pretzel. It's a big one, though.
It's a business.
But,
Yeah.
On the other hand, they have been a staple for that community for a very long time. And we want to make sure that they survive.
Yeah. I don't think we have to necessarily I don't think we have to auto deny every event sponsored by a business.
How about Il Buco? We always vote against it, right?
Il Buco never.
How different, how is this different?
That wasn't Il Buco, that was a museum that didn't exist.
No, I'm talking about Il Buco.
I don't remember.
Well, yeah,
What is that?
always denied that one too, because it was pig roast in the middle of the street and you remember that one?
I remember that.
Okay, I've been in this committee long enough to know.
When was that?
That approved, but they haven't come before us, but they did come not too long ago and I.
Oh, I think that was before I joined.
Denied it.
Must have been before I joined the board.
We denied it, They said, oh, we haven't done it, but we actually denied it. That's what I recall. And so I don't know, you really want to open up a can of worms for everybody, every business? I mean, I've been in business for 50 years. Does that allow me to have how many parties a year? Huh? Think about it. I mean, I'm saying this because I'm concerned that you're opening up a can of worms. For me, that's my interpretation. I want to have a big paella festival.
I think that would,
Close the street.
I think that would have community value.
Hey, you want, oh yeah, you approve?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well,
Wait.
so, you know,
I think we have to be consistent.
the next one is very much like that. Audible
Sorry?
Theater is a for-profit theater owned by Amazon. And they just want to have a party in the street, so they want to, it's very similar. And
But that one's not open to the public at all.
which is even worse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that any, business events can't also have cultural or public value in every case. Right? I think there's some nuance.
Well, and so I'm, I don't know, I've been on this committee long enough to see lots and lots of events approved for street closures, and seems like an awful lot of them were just for private businesses. And
What do you think? Sorry.
so it is there, to me, there needs to be that community participation or benefit or something that a neighbor could just go and have some fun there. So the private events.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest disruption is traffic. I mean, there's no other real businesses on the block, so they're not interfering with anyone else. I think it comes down to, the traffic.
Did he say something about he didn't want to do it on the other street because there's a competitor there?
He didn't want to block.
The monkey.
He didn't want to block the street in front of Freshman.
And that's the only way to get
Maybe
there.
he wants to make all the money selling all the beers and the hot dogs, whatever, and the sausages. There's one, the other guy next to around.
No, he's saying that he's not going to close off Little 12th because nobody could get the Brass Monkey there. So he's keeping that open. So
But I think
people
that-
could go there.
Yeah, this is.
The traffic is.
People may go to his party and not to the Brass Monkey instead. That's what I'm talking about.
The what?
The Whitney, somebody said.
Yeah, well, Donna was saying, but it is, you have to divert, you don't have to divert all the way to Hudson, but you have to divert still. You can just go around and go down Washington.
You still have to go in a little circle.
Yeah, you still have to go in a little circle. It's not as far. Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of events that I know over the next month or two, we're gonna try to work on guidelines. But these are the kind of events that I think, even with the guidelines, are gonna be a little tricky, is because our guidelines will say, oh, we don't want pure commercial, we don't want pure advertising, we want cultural value, we want community. You could argue that both ways on both of these two events, honestly.
Well, there's another point too that I made before, longevity in the community. I think and that is a consideration that we need to add to the other factors. Have they been in the community for a long time? Have they been good neighbors? We want to keep them in the community. I think that's all out of the scope of this committee.
Why don't we hear from?
Did they even speak to any of the neighbors, the residents of the area?
There's any residents right there.
Residents.
Nobody?
On that block, not really.
But you remember we had another one, I think it was Charlton Street, that had the same kind of beer thing, and it was a huge restaurant. That had the sign.
Yes.
Which one?
Torch and Crown, the brewery.
Yes, you remember that one?
Yeah, there were more neighbors there, yeah. There was a residential building right there.
Right.
It's not really the case here.
And the people objected to it, but that's not the same.
All right, why don't we hear from Carter and Donna? Donna, why don't you go?
So I'm just going to say that, yes, the Standard Hotel has been there for a bunch of years. We consistently, as a community, I'm speaking as a community person now and not as a community board person, as a resident in the district, have to remind them of the stipulations they sign so that we don't hear the DJs from the rooftop, so that we don't hear the music blasting from the downstairs area. We are having a problem now that we have not reached out to them again yet, because I think they have had a change in management. The beer garden, thankfully, usually does not have music. It's a very, very loud space. So putting all this out on a block, why they are not partnering with Brass Monkey to have a community involved. Brass Monkey has been there for probably as long as the Standard. I don't know, so don't quote me on that. So I don't know how long Brass Monkey has been there, but that is a small person owning a business in our community that's been there forever. Why they're not partnering with them, to Rocio's point, Rocio, thank you so much. This will bring everybody out onto that block to do a whole event. And I just want to say that, you know, their skating rink, they're putting an art installation, so all these games can't happen in the skating rink at that time. They're putting all the activities on the opposite side of the street from their sidewalk cafe and everything, instead of putting everything next to their building, enclosing everything next to the building and putting the emergency lane on the other side of the street. There's been no community outreach with this whatsoever. And you would have to ask the bid how much, you know, everybody comes on and says the bid is, who knows what the bid is or is not. But there's been no community outreach on this whatsoever. And the community has consistently reached out to the Standard. They have everybody's name in the community. So, you know, they haven't done any of that. I just think this is a real closing of the street for what they are saying is a block party with no other people involved other than the Standard, and they're taking advantage of the place that Samsung is probably closed at that time, and the other half of the block is vacant right now, and they're not putting it in front of their place. So I'm not in support of this at all.
Carter, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, he said it directly that this event is to promote the Standard Hotel, that they're not making money on it, but it's to promote the hotel through the bands and, you know, Oktoberfest. And just as Donna said, if this were in fact a block party, you'd invite other people from the community to participate. And I mean, I've been to their beer garden on many occasions where you can't even move in it because it's so crowded. And I'm just not sure here. This just, it really does seem like it's, there are gray areas, but this seems to, from their own points, fall on the wrong side of it. And, it's closing the street. And while, yes, people can go over there, they are making money. They are selling stuff and making it. They're not inviting other vendors in. It's all through them. And it's essentially extending their beer garden into a block-long event. And there is and you're right, there are some events which can fall on the other side of it, but he said it very clearly. The point of this is to promote the standard High Line, and as Donna has pointed out, there's new management there, and this is the cycle of stuff that happens every time you have changeovers in big organizations like this, and they say, let's take advantage of how do we take a public space and make it ours and promote it, as opposed to partnering with any of the organizations that they promote, bringing people in. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could do this to have it fall on another side, but he very clearly said his mandate was to promote the hotel, and that was the measurement of success for the event.
Okay, so are we at a consensus? People feel,
To deny?
yeah.
I am.
Can you tell us how it will be worded?
I think it's gonna be a bit of a nuanced thing and just say, while we recognize that this is cultural value and may have some appeal to the community, it's primarily a commercial event. All aspects of it you still have to pay to do, other to partake in the carnival rides, the food and drink that's all for sale.
If they said they were giving the proceeds or a percentage of the proceeds to a worthy cause,
Yeah,
your hospital, there you go, right?
Or this LGBT center.
Or whatever,
You mentioned.
but they did not.
Okay.
So, sorry for interrupting.
anyone feel differently? Tell us now. No, okay. So all in favor of deny, say aye.
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 Any opposed, abstain? Okay. Okay, so Audible Theater. Similar one, I mean, it is a culture, it is a cultural organization, I would say. It is promoting the arts, even if it's owned by Amazon, so I think that's a positive.
Yes.
I'm a bit concerned about the fire access. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know when
They're gonna have to close
It's a very small, they're
I
not
don't
very
think they
experienced.
realize they're gonna have to close the second block.
That's right. That wasn't thought out very well.
It's a little surprised about that.
I'm not sure what let's see, the Audible Theater, I don't know what the seating capacity is, that sort of thing.
Just small theater. Yeah, 175, I think. 175.
Well, okay, so they're saying there's only 150 private invited guests.
Yeah.
No public interaction whatsoever, no community interaction whatsoever.
It's a small theater.
Then the things that they're wanting to do, could do them inside. It just seems like
I don't think there's.
I just don't see they have no lobby. I don't see what there's no lobby. Okay, all right. There's no lobby. Sort of like the loose field. Right.
I think this can be as simple as, while we support, the arts and we support the theater in general, and we're glad that it's in our district, we don't see how they can physically meet the safety requirement of an emergency access lane.
Yeah,
So just on that alone, it has to be denied, unless there's some exception I don't know about for these tiny alleyways. But I don't see why they would make an exception when it comes to public safety, fire.
Safety first.
So
So that would be one aspect, but I think the second aspect that we are talking about is that we did not see the community benefit.
Yeah, we can mention that we don't, we're, you know, in general, we mentioned we're opposed to a private event that on a public street that, you know, public can't attend. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. But I think the main point should just be this, the safety issue. I mean, that we should highlight that to SAPO. I think that's the most important thing to make sure SAPO sees. Right?
Okay.
Carter, is your hand still raised or is it for this one?
It is. I just noticed that, but I did have something to say on this, and it's very nuanced. So, is that a number of our local theaters have been purchased or are operated by major institutions, and that is entirely different than our local theaters that are run as nonprofit. And the subsidizing of the theaters by these large corporations and then having a private event for the donors would be okay for those nonprofits where they really rely on these activities. But these operations are very different in the manner in which they're funded. And I think that is a very defining issue in those, because they're totally different approaches to running the theaters. And I just bring that up because these become so private that they run counter to the nonprofits, you know, that probably would not use a percentage of their revenue to host an event such as this and would have more of those resources go into running the theater.
Yeah.
So when we, you know, if you're going to look at, if they're going to close down Commerce Street, you know, now that, you know, that the Cherry Lane has been purchased. I mean, this is basically what we're promoting in these areas, which are small local theaters that have been purchased by others. You know, that you basically have this extension of this privatization of the exterior. And I just think that's a very slippery slope, and I think it should be commented on.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good point. I think even if this were a local theater, unfortunately, they couldn't do it again for the safety reason. But yeah, I think we should include that point. Okay. So all in favor of denying, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Okay. Great. Okay, Joe Pop. Joe Pop up.
Yeah, I like the fact that they are contributing to this charity.
Yeah, so the contribution seems.
Can you remind us which charity?
Bottomless closet.
Bottomless closet. Although it's, I mean,
they're not contributing that much.
it's not huge.
It takes like 100 people to get to attend to give what?
Every 100 people would be $1,000.
So,
because they're saying $10. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something. It's like, it seems like it's another advertisement event with like the nonprofit tacked on, which again, is better than nothing. If you look at the diagrams, it's like, I have them on my screen. I don't see anything super prominently advertising. But I don't know, if we want to send a message that we need to start somewhere in terms of nonprofits, then I guess we can, but I don't know. It seems like every other, you know, commercial activation
Well, I don't always see that kind of charitable contribution.
No, we don't always see.
No, we used to
I think we should encourage.
We used to have a contribution for every single one.
I mean, with all, it's like, with all these plaza things, they just, as we know, they push them through. It's gonna, you know, the events always happen regardless of what we say. So if we want to send a message that, hey, thanks for doing something beyond purely commercial, then we can just approve and say, in general, we're still opposed to commercial activations, but we like this one.
Yeah.
As a nonprofit component. Hopefully we can help start getting the message across that it needs to be more. You know, we'll mention the DJ part, and that if there's a DJ, it has to be, you know, kept at a little. Okay. Otherwise.
Okay.
It's not taking up the whole plaza. Okay.
Yep.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a question mark.
All in favor of the
I had a question
comments?
mark in my head. So what can I do with it?
All in favor of approve with comments on that one?
Oh, I'm gonna recuse as per the earlier one, skincare, will do.
Thanks. Yeah, Rocio. Well, let's just vote on the last one, if that's okay. Okay, unanimous deny on the last one, no show. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Name, okay. Okay, new business. Yes, Rocio. Oh, I thought you had a comment. I thought you were gonna say something else. Oh,
Oh, we got renewal.
oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, we got them.
I think Donna has her hand up.
Oh, yes, Donna.
Zachary, I just wanted to ask, what is the basis of your recusal? That's like who?
So same as earlier, my company owns several skincare brands, so I'm recusing from both skincare focused events.
Okay, and then what is your company? Can you?
I work for Colgate Palmolive.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Just on that, I don't think that's a basis for recusal. Recusal is only if you directly benefit, not because of competition, but because you make money on something.
Really? So I should vote on my competitors' events?
If you're not directly making money off of something, I don't think that's a basis for recusal.
Okay, that seems like news to me, like I would have a conflict of interest.
That would be, you know, if somebody owned a restaurant or a business that they would have to recuse on every application, and that's just not the case. It's only if you personally benefit that you have to recuse. I don't know the exact language, but just for clarification on that.
Would a person have the choice to abstain? Oh,
You can always abstain.
Yeah, of course.
I'll abstain,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't really care.
Can we have
but I-
Susan, can we have Susan comment? Yeah.
Oh,
Because you're on mute.
Instead of repeating these situations, you should reach out to COIB, run your situation by them and get
Yep.
official guidance. And this way you'll know. Because you shouldn't be avoiding voting if you really can.
Okay. I assumed it was a conflict of interest. They're a competitor of mine and I don't want to
But you
vote.
know, don't take advice from any of us. You really
Okay.
bring it to the, you know, the experts.
Okay.
So how,
But the reason I raised it is because a recusal is different from an abstention. And in order to qualify for a recusal, you have to have a real reason to, is my point. And Susan's absolutely right. But every case that I've ever heard is because of a personal gain on it. And that's where people run into trouble, is because they're part of an organization, as Donna had pointed out, you know, being part of a bid or et cetera. But the recusal is different from an abstention in the way the votes are counted.
All right. I'm happy to change to an abstention if that matters, but I'll figure it out.
Susan, how should we treat it right now? If we don't know what the COIB
You
is.
know, it does, okay, what I would say is that first of all, does it impact whether or not this passes?
No.
It doesn't. Then I would say, do what you feel is you're comfortable with. Enter it the way Zachary is doing it. And then you will follow up with COIB, you will get an official answer and going forward. Since it's not going to change the outcome, I don't think it's appropriate for anybody to second guess him, even if their experience tells them otherwise.
Zachary, you can call tomorrow, 212-442-1400.
I'll do 212-1400.
212-442-1400.
Yeah, there's also the borough president's website will have links, and the city's website has links to all of this stuff. So don't worry about it.
Okay, and do we have any comments on the FYI renewals?
Yes,
Okay,
I have questions on two of them. First one is Films on the Cobble, sponsored by our friends at MGMK. And I'm wondering just what that is. It's a full pedestrian plaza use. And then the second one is Astor Live with Joe's Pub dance event. Sounds like a private
Which one?
commercial.
Joe's Pub, oh, no, they've had it before.
yeah, sure, give me a second. I will.
Familiar with either one of them, so I'm just asking the question.
The Joe's Pub one is a Village Alliance activation of the plaza, and there's no charge.
Yeah,
It just attracts anyone who wants to attend, who's on the street, and they give you an airphone, so the noise doesn't disturb the neighbors, and there's no fee.
yeah, so Films on the Plaza, I mean, it's apparently the third time it's been done. And I guess the application doesn't have that much info. I guess it's just literally showing some film on the plaza.
有半个钟头有没有？半个钟头 ，air condition 关了，因为半个小时。
A good question.
Well, that's the only thing I have.
That's why it rolled in. Yeah, it says on the thing third time, so it's a repeat. Okay.
So I would move that we approve the renewals.
Okay. Anyone? Carter, yeah. Carter raised his hand.
Yeah, so another issue with both Village Alliance and Meatpacking Bid with their plaza event. I think that both of the organizations should come in separately for their spaces and come to an agreement with the board about the number of events that are not connected to the community, because both of the bids are operators of city space that the city uses to generate money. And so we need to find a good balance with them on that as part of a larger conversation, because in many ways we're sort of sticking our head into the sand a bit about that revenue generation for the city. And I think it's a good practice too, because if we know there are certain events that are specifically to raise money for the city, and they're big events and they're confined to a certain number of a year, it's much easier to acknowledge that and move forward with that, instead of sort of the hodgepodge of events where we say one thing here, another thing there, and it just gives clarity for everybody on the larger picture. And I think that, you know, that last month or the months before, Natasha had really raised that event, you know, as far as funds for the city, and it is important. And we should have that conversation, because it actually gives more weight to our recommendations when we acknowledge the reality of the intent of that relationship with both of the separate bids. So
yeah. I think we've tried.
I think that's something.
I'm in favor of that. I think we've tried to reach out to Meatpacking in the past, and it hasn't necessarily gone anywhere. But maybe with Donna's help and, you know, others, we can make that happen. And maybe Michael, you can, when you talk to Village Alliance, maybe we can, you know, we can raise that concept.
Should we do it as one meeting and invite both?
we have to see what the schedule looks like. Yeah,
And we'll see how willing they are to.
we have to see what the schedule looks like. No, I think it's a good idea, and Carter, you've heard us, I think, in the last one, you talked about putting together more guidelines as well. And that's a separate thing that should also help, you know, make it less I don't know if haphazard is the right word, but be more consistent in as much as we can be. Again, I would have, you know, I would have loved to talk about this meeting, but it's like already a 4-hour meeting. So we may at some point have to have a special meeting or wait till the applications die down seasonally, have this conversation. Those are both ideas we can think about because it's really hard to tack on a really detailed, meaningful conversation when you have 4 hours of street activity. So maybe it's just maybe we have a second meeting one month to talk about this.
Will, I'd just like to say, if you can get SAPO in here to actually say what they're responsible for, who is responsible for what in this permitting. Because some of it goes to the precincts, some of it goes, you know, to SLA. And just so we know when you are writing your resolutions, who you're directing it to, who is responsible for what on these applications. So maybe SAPO could come in and do a presentation on how they also handle these applications.
Yeah, unfortunately, SAPO has an interim head right now who I don't think wants to do that.
Okay.
What I would like to do is try to get the head of CE SCEM in, who has a ton of experience, Don Tolson. So I might start there because she used to be director of SAPO.
What do those letters stand?
Coordinated citywide event coordinated management, or it's I can't remember if it's coordinated or citywide first because it's so late. But they're the umbrella organization above SAPO. So SAPO is an office under CECM. So I think Susan, maybe with your help and Mark's help, I've been wanting to do have her in. We should add that to the list is get inviting Dawn as present. I also think she was one of the people who sort of presided over a transition to SAPO and sort of updating procedures and bringing everything online in kind of the last, that's what her bio says at least. So I think she'd be a good person to have. Okay. Did we vote on the FYI renewals? I don't think we voted yet. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain. Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Everybody, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Has it really been 4 hours?
Well, it's closing in on. Yeah.